Yo, where the time go? Cause man, it seems so slow to my vibe full. Girls, now we on stage at our own live show with the crowd coming for our live vocals. I'm like, damn, how'd it get like this? From rapping at lunch table just for the kicks, now we on stage with a mic in our hand. So tell me, does it get better than this? No. 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 It get better than this?
I don't think so.
Don't get better than this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What, don't get better than this?
I don't think so.
It's been a long time coming, but the group is back. And me and Manny been in the lab, looking the roots of rap. We taking every opportunity to perfect our craft, destroying any opposition that'll cross our path. I got a nice tie with a suit to match, but I ain't sitting at a desk unless it's got a plaque to read. I'm the boss with a big old stack in my bank account. Nothing left, no time for that. I remember sitting back at the class of Sagamaki, writing to the beat on the radio, no one can stop me. That's where we went the first track to our first show. Started a crowd, had their hands up like a robbery. I guess we're an oddity. We seem strange. No one in my city is doing the same thing. Everybody talking about they want to see change, but nobody put the effort. I'm feeling it's insane. And I just don't get it. If you wanna see the change, then you gotta be it. Have you smiled yet today? I saw a problem in my city, so I had to hit up many to defeat it. I just hope they see it like we see it. We up on the stage, we come alive every time we hear them say we going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just grab the mic and hear them rage. And I'm just here to say, if I ever get the chance to make it, I'ma take it. Never leave my chance to waste it. Now I'm feeling like I'm destined for greatness. Like take a moment just to thank you for patience, cause I know you've been waiting. Trust me, I'm in the booth just pacing, waiting for the beat to drop, then it's off to the race. And I'm fueled by this pen and this paper. Looking back, all I can say is Yo, where the time go? Cause man, it seems so slow through my bifocals. Now we on stage at our own live show with the crowd screaming for our live vocals. I'm like, damn, how'd it get like this? From rapping at lunch tables just for the kicks. Now we on stage with a mic in our hand. So tell me, does it get better than this?
No.
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 It get better than this?
I don't think so.
Don't get better than this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What, don't get better than this?
I don't think so. It'll be better when the crowd knows who was to this. And all of the people around the world heard of this. When it's an excellent service they prefer to get. This is that magic music that you serve them with. I got a nice flow and a perfect pitch. Sitting in the studio with my birthday hits. We won't stop. Over here working hard. People had so many wounds that we're nursing it. But look how far we come. This isn't all we done. We proceed to be artists. We got more to do. This is show. Prove we sow seeds and reap harvest. Forget the hate now. Life's good. Everything's great now. We just really want to get paid now. We're on our way now. Every single person that hated on us want to say hey now. I ain't worried, I ain't stressed. I'm too blessed to be down. Yeah, somewhere way up. I can't even see the ground. Ain't in no hurry to get no rest. I get less of it now. Every day I wake up, I believe in these songs. Sounds great to me, you know I had to sign up. I got every single goal in the lineup. And all my obstacles out here getting sized up. Oh, you know, matter rise up. Look at the past, we're leaving it behind us. Sometimes life's a cry to remind us. Some people only get to see this when the eyes shut. Oh, I'm glad till my time's up.
Yo, where the time go? Cause man, it seems so slow through my bifocals. Now we on stage at our own live show with the crowd screaming for our live vocals. I'm like, damn, how'd it get like this? From rapping at lunch tables just for the kicks. Now we on stage with a mic in our hand. So tell me, does it get better than this?
No.
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 It get better than this?
I don't think so.
Don't get better than this?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
What, don't get better than this?
I don't think so.
At this time, in your mind, I control that. Flow ahead of time, yo, this rhyme is my throwback. People think I'm asleep, but I'm woke, you should know that. Just according to my quotes that I spoke, made you go back. The smoke's made for rollback. The smoke from the notes come and smoke those with no tech. Kudos those who know me before. Girlfriends and friends get to behold the prophecy of tic-tac-toe. How my exes say, oh. Crown on top of my head, it's deep inside of my cranium. My subjects are my subjects that come alive while I'm paying them. Get it, paying. Breath is hard as titanium. To say I am a king is truth, not megalomania. I'm breaking down this beat, ain't I? The Lego pieces of my thesis make these words rave out. I'm milking the udders of utter. Take 16.
It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah.
Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Hey, yo. Welcome in, here on radio for radio, go tell a friend. Went to Rail in Georgia, bring them in. We got so many things to talk about, so let's begin. Putting the highlight on local life on Thursdays, 8 at night. Hope you feeling alright, cause tonight we gon' get you right, yeah, show you right. We gon' laugh, joke, talk, rinse, repeat. We gon' keep it real chill, let's get deep. Ain't no topic off limits, no knock off a gimmick. 10 times out of 9, you'll be fine when we finish. We get talented, hard to get artists to target that audience. Talk accomplishments of those who get no acknowledgement. The studio be hot in the summertime, studio be cold in the winter. And know the chair a bit dusty, it be a throne we enter. Have a seat with us, chocolate milk and waffles, come and eat with us. 2 whole hours, turn your speakers up. And before we get it started, just repeat it thus. It's old chocolate milk and waffle show. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. We got George, we got Terrell, we got milk, that's chocolate. We got beautiful buttery waffles, just the way your mama used to make them.
Crazy.
And we are back with another high fructose corn syrup slathered episode of the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. My name's George. I am Sans, my partner Terrell this week, as he could not be in the station with us. But we have a guest co-host in the house, Xavier Rodriguez.
How's it going?
Good day,
B-Boy
sir.
Sabi, a.k.a. Mango Juice. Since you know what I'm saying, we don't have half of the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show. I am mango juice filling in, for your breakfast
So
needs.
today it's chocolate milk and mango juice.
Chocolate milk and mango juice. Not in the same cup, of course.
Because that would be
gross.
fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely disgusting. Oh, yes, I just dropped an F-bomb. It's internet radio. A lot of people ask, can you say whatever you want? Yes, you absolutely can. We are on the Chocolate Milk and Waffle Show, and as always, I'm going to go over a couple events real quick and some local happenings. First of all, happy 40th anniversary to Star Wars. I need to go ahead and start out with that. April 13th, 1977, the very first film was released in theaters. And here it is 40 years later. George Lucas created a legacy. I can't really hear myself in my headphones. Hopefully my voice is going off over the air. If it's not, y'all are missing out because I'm talking dopeness. In any case, Star Wars, like I said. Carrying on. April 21st, Kwame is hosting the dojo one more time. This time he is co-hosting it with my partner from Chocolate Milk and Waffles of Arts Out Loud fame, Terrell Mercer. There will be a $100 prize in a topical freestyle battle. All you guys out here that say you can freestyle and you come in there spitting some stuff that is very, very clearly written down and contrived, we're pulling your trump card.
And you got to come correct at the dojo.
You have to absolutely come correct at the dojo. The topic you will be freestyling about will be pulled randomly out of a hat. You then have 45 seconds to rap about the topic. You will be judged severely.
Yeah, you got some strong heads.
The judges are Gorilla Will.
Oh, my goodness.
The Rubber People. Steph Love. And this one cat named George Mendez.
All right, so everybody but George is an excellent barsmith. And George is actually manufactured from bars, so he doesn't qualify as a bar. Actually, you know what? That whole lineup, the only person there that's not technically a barsmith would be Gorilla Will. But he's actually built from hip-hop, so
right, by proxy.
Yeah, so he actually is a barsmith, unfortunately, for the people. It's just, the dojo is dope every time. I've gone a couple times. I have friends that have performed. I know Kwame personally. I know a lot of them personally. It's dope, so go to the dojo. It's amazing.
We'll be
if you
posting
like
the
hip-hop.
flyer for that on the Chocolate Milk and Waffles Facebook page. That's April 21st at 8 p.m. in Norfolk. April 28th, over at the venue, we will be having our monthly Feature Friday event. Being that April is National Poetry Month, it will be a lineup of all poets, 5 amazing feature poets. And we're trying something a little new this time, too. We're going to go ahead and do an open mic portion during that period. We'll see how this works out.
Have you been to the new Last Tuesdays? That's
they're doing it like that. I plan to do it. That's kind of where I got the idea, and I ran it by Steph Love to see. Obviously there's no encroachment.
Yeah, but still, though, just it's a cool idea.
I think I'm going to use the open micers in between the features.
In between, ooh,
to kind of carry it through
smooth,
the evening.
Yeah.
Mostly because, quite honestly, we're experiencing a little bit of a attendance issue with Feature Fridays. I'm competing with a lot in Norfolk that serves food and alcohol. So what I've been noticing is that it's the feature and like whatever 1 or 2 people they may or may not bring. And that's not fair to the features. You know what I mean? So I thought maybe if people felt like
everybody, a lot more people could be inclusive. Yeah,
it could be more inclusive. So that'll be going on. Because it's National Poetry Month, I'm asking that all the open micers strictly do poetry. But moving into May, the open mic for Feature Fridays will be all genres like always. What else do I got going on? That's April 28th. May 13th, I will be featuring at the 35th Street Art Gallery at 6 p.m. May 20th, the venue is having their springtime yard sale. Tables are only $10. If you go to any typical yard sale or bazaar, it's typically $25 and up for a space. Ours are only $10. Come sell off all the extra shit that's cluttering up your life and make room for more
other
shit
that
will be taking up places in your life.
Alternative shit.
And I think that's all we've got coming up. Of course, Arts Out Loud on the 3rd Friday of every month. I'll plug that for Terrell. And moving right along, we have in the house with us this evening our good friend Isaac Fields. What's up, brother? Thank you for being
buddy.
here.
What's going on, man?
Hanging out. We do have one more guest on the way, Mr. Ahmad Clemens. He is experiencing some traffic difficulties, but I'm sure he'll be with us soon. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm a little nervous.
A little nervous?
I'm just going to sip my water.
Yeah. It can be that way. After a while, I guarantee you'll forget that the mics are on, and it'll feel like we're
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm just going to forget this giant thing in front of my face?
Yeah, I think so.
Honestly, you just pretend like it's part of everything around you. You just got to pretend like you're talking to us, and the mics are just kind of like,
okay,
not there at all.
All right.
And just pretend that it is just us.
Yeah.
I thought it
even
was
though
just
there's
us,
hundreds and hundreds of people listening. I'm lying. We got like 12. Maybe.
12?
Yeah, sometimes
our
the
listenership isn't
Facebook
super
Lives gets pretty lit though.
Yeah, the Facebook. We definitely get more views, I think, off the Facebook Live than
I don't really
anything else.
understand Facebook Live. I don't really get that.
I only ever use it when I'm here, and it's because the station goes live, so they're broadcasting what's going on in here.
Right.
So I share it so that my friends can see it.
You know, we cheat being performers, like all of our friends perform. So like I think for people like you and us, like Facebook Live is actually like an actual tool. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, we're at this event, we're at this open mic, we're at
it's a
this. You know,
super tool,
Facebook
man.
Live is totally like
Speaking
the
of that, I
coolest
need to share
thing.
the video as well.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But like I do wonder like with
And there
people
is
who
a
don't
delay.
do stuff like with Facebook Live.
Dude, it's kind of the worst because it's like when you like get a update about someone's like food, you're like, man, I don't care about that at all. But then now you get a video of them.
I love how
talking,
you get
I
like
care
a
about
whole
this less. That's
notification
crazy.
for Facebook Live. Like they let
Yeah.
you know like this person who you haven't talked to in 10 years, they're
Yeah.
going live right now.
There's
Just-
got to be a setting where you can turn that off, though. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even, and it's not for nothing, but like, there's tons of people on my Facebook that I don't really know, like
Yeah.
that, and I don't.
I added them to play
mean,
Farmville, and now they're my
like, there's
Facebook
just
Live people.
tons of people on there that I don't really know you, and every time somebody goes live, Facebook feels this overwhelming desire to notify me. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't care. That's probably how somebody feels right now because I just shared a live video.
I know, just share all the time. Total share. We're just all hypocrites, actually. Social media
Yeah,
hypocrites.
it's turned us into a bunch of because we hate it, but we
It's the
can't
worst.
seem to walk away from it. Especially as artists, though, it's become such a valuable
Exactly.
it's-
tool.
It's free advertising.
And it's like so much of your social life becomes devoted to like
Yeah.
socially just telling people about what you
Ironically,
do.
though, hang on a second.
Take your time. Take your
Take
time.
over the show.
Yeah, nah. So yeah, nah. Like, so it's just really funny.
Pressure's on.
I know, right? Like,
You got the show.
I
It's
know,
all
co-host,
yours.
Co-host.
You know,
No,
what? Let's take this from him. Can we lowball him?
I
Can we
know
take
this is our show now. Actually, this is
sweet.
the new
good 'cause
Mango
we've-
and Isaac show.
We've known each other for like 15 seconds.
Honestly,
so this is
you know,
gonna be fine. I
relationship.
think
They say
we're-
love at first sight. I think for dudes, that's just like a great working relationship. Honestly,
That's it already.
so like, okay, I actually have a really interesting question I've always wanted to ask a
Please,
professional
please.
comedian. Since
Well, you're asked the wrong guy, but we'll try.
So like, at what point did you decide to go from like a guy who's just really funny to like being a guy who's like, I'm gonna be officially funny? Like, what made you decide?
You know, man, I always loved stand up as a kid.
Okay.
You know, I watched the Comedy Central Presents half hours just all day long whenever I had time as a kid, and I'm always kind of obsessed with it. But it wasn't like a thing I thought you could just do. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's just like,
I know exactly what you
yeah,
mean.
exactly. And then you find out there's like an open mic, and you're like, oh, you can try it. And I was actually in a way different part of my life at the time, where I was actually planning to be a police officer, believe it or not, and I was really excited to do that.
There's
and,
the punchline. Bow.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then I remembered I was white, so I was like, yeah, chill out, easy on that. Now, but George probably don't even know this about me, but yeah, I when I first started, I was really obsessed, and I worked at a grocery store, and I was waiting to join the police department. And I had been accepted to the academy, and I was really
no
excited.
kidding.
Yeah. I had a lot of family. You know how that blue blood is, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, just do what everybody else did. I'm gonna be a police officer now. And then when you go to be a police officer, they like polygraph you and like drug test you and like all this stuff. So I was 20 years old. So I kicked all my habits. I'm not drinking anymore. I'm not smoking anymore. I'm gonna get my life straight. Well, then all those friends that you had just kind of like go away from that like party scene. So I was like kind of like left by myself, not really doing anything, no hobbies. And I saw they had an open mic, and I gave it a shot and just freaking loved it, man. I bombed.
Where was it?
Blue Frog. You know,
Okay.
I do a show there
Oh,
now.
the where you
yeah,
host now.
exactly.
That-
That's right. Yeah, isn't that funny?
That's crazy as shit.
He said,
Yes,
that
I
show that
started
I
from the
bombed,
bottom, and
it's
I'm
my
slightly-
show now.
Yeah, well, they had an open mic. It was for music, but I asked the guy if I could try it. I did a minute and a half, and I bombed terribly. And I waited till I was 21 so I could get drunk, and then it was just awful.
Did it again.
Yeah, and every week I kept going back until I ran into another guy who was like, "What are you doing comedy here?" Hey, what's up, man?
All right, we got our other guest.
other
in the building,
guest.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on in.
The
Come on in.
other
You can
funny
have a
guy.
seat
Yeah, you sit
over
right here.
brother.
It's
Got you right here.
a whole like path.
Yeah, it
and
turns
whatnot.
out that all comedians do in fact know each other. So
Yeah,
these guys
absolutely.
actually are totally aware.
The comedians community isn't altogether different than the poetry community. It's small and it's pretty tight knit. I've heard it said by comedians though that it's a little bit more cutthroat with you guys. It's a little bit more competitive than it is on the poetry scene. And
You plead the fifth, right? Just be real careful.
headphones,
That's it.
man?
I feel like plagiarism would be a big, like, scary thing.
I don't know, man. It's definitely super cliquish. I don't know. I see. I don't have a. Yeah. I don't really have like a baseline. I couldn't compare it because I don't know the poetry scene whatsoever. But
I think on the poetry scene, it's like none of us expect to blow up at all. Like we know that this is not an avenue for that.
Right, yeah.
Whereas with comedy, it is a little bit more realistic that one out of the maybe a couple hundred in Hampton Roads does go on to bigger things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Leonard Oates. He's from here.
Yeah,
He just got a spot on Wildin' Out.
I went to New York and he was at the comedy cellar. I was like, "Is that Leonard Oots? Like, what? That dude grew up where I grew up. Like, it's nuts."
When first time I met him, he came into the venue, and he looked familiar to me, but at the time he wasn't quite as large, and I had just started like being the backup host. I wasn't even the official long-term host yet, and I remember everybody was like, "That's Leonard Oots. He's been on BET. He's been on Comic View." I was like, "Oh shit, that's where I know the guy from." Because they had a in the intro of the show they would flash all these comedians like real quick while the music's playing. He was one of the faces, and like he has a very recognizable face. I guess they just used him on a B-roll thing for like, but props to him, man.
Honestly,
that's a dude that grinds though.
Virginia's like that though. Virginia creates like people who grind. Like I always tell people this because people will say like Virginia's really lame or not talented, but I'm like there's like so
Whatever.
like but the like showmanship scene in Virginia like changes and shifts so frequently, so fast. We're a heavy military town. Like if you're here and then like 5 years later, it could be like a whole different scene,
That's
a
a
whole
very good
different
point.
art form.
Yeah.
I feel like it really like being in Virginia. It really teaches you to grind because we have stuff that goes on almost every night, and a lot of places don't even have that. We have a lot of places. We have like you said like
I think we
Feature
have no
Fridays.
choice but to. Being
Yeah, like
that
we have to
We're
grind.
not one of those cities like Atlanta or New York where there's already eyeballs on it.
But
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what? Me coming in, this is a mod. I know I'm the
Yeah,
late dude.
let's.
I know, I was about to say,
but
yeah, have
before
him
we
introduce
continue,
himself,
let's
yeah.
have you introduce yourself, like we gave Isaac the opportunity to. Go ahead.
Hey, I appreciate it. Appreciate George for having me on tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
Definitely, the venue definitely is a spot where everybody can get it on. My name is Ahmad. I dived in with the conversation talking about VA. I'm a comedian. I started off acting. That's my basis. I love acting and comedian. I branched into comedy about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And actually, I started it here in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a lot of people get up, Charles Lipscombs, a few other cats that I know, Gary Mitchell, a lot of cats around here doing their thing, and they motivated me to want to get up there. My homeboy Sean Money Lamont, my right hand with Short Bus Comedy Show. We do our show around here as well. But touching back on what you all were talking about as far as, is there a little bit of cliquish here?
Oh yeah.
I'm from Michigan. I've seen some of it here. There is a little bit here, and I try and stay away from that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm old school. I love making links and building bridges. And like y'all said, Virginia has a wealth of talent from comedy, singers, poetry, rappers, everything. And they hit the mainstream with it. And I'm like, there's no way that this cannot be a major hub. Here in the U.S., VA has a wealth of talent. It's shown in the music industry. You got Pharrell, Timbaland, Missy Elliott.
Yeah, but it's like they just like I said, that grind mentality that Virginia creates. It's like when they leave Virginia, it's like they still work. They still want to go out and just do stuff every day, and they still want, because it's just like it's what we have to do in Virginia. You really have to like.
You
be
have
out
to.
here like, what is there to do? What is there to do? What is there to
they
do?
forget
What is
about
there?
you quick,
Is there-
huh?
Yeah, you gotta really be out there.
Yeah.
So you said you've been doing comedy for 4 years. You were
Yeah.
acting before that. And
Yeah.
Isaac, how long have you been doing comedy?
Like 2.5 years.
Like 2.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
I asked Isaac this question earlier, but maybe you could tell me. So at what point? I mean, you said you did acting, so I guess it was a different focal, view for you. But at what point were you like, you know what? Like, instead of just being a funny guy, I can kind of just be somebody who does humor professionally. And I guess as an actor, it's an even more serious change because it's like you're a whole different genre of acting, a whole different style of expressing your arts. Like, what made you decide, you know what, instead of I guess not instead of being an actor, but to be like comedian is kind of where I'm going to try my thing now.
Well, I've always been a clown anyway. From the military, I did 8 years military, and I stayed, doing push-ups from, clowning in formation and everything. Anybody that served with me, they know me as Clemens or whatever. I stayed, just clowning, imitating platoon sergeants, whether they from Africa or whatever. I imitate them, and that'll get me doing push-ups. So instead of, getting in trouble, and I was the one that got in trouble in class for always cutting up and everything. So I'm like, well, may as well try and convert it into the comedy. I saw all the greats, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, all these, and the late recently passed Charlie.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Man, that hurt my heart. But
Yeah, that was a tough one.
I guess just trying to test the waters in comedy and to see if I can just do something outside of just acting.
Which one? Gun to your head. You a comic or an actor? you had to pick one.
yeah.
Oh,
That's a
my
tough.
goodness.
You guys who you tread both lines, I gotta know. You know?
I would have to say acting.
I'm an actor who does
Dead to me.
comedy.
Yeah,
I would not
Dead to
homies,
me.
man.
Dead.
I
Yeah.
think all comedians are actors. I don't think all actors are comedians.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I have like a huge respect for comedians in general. Just as a person who tries to write, you know, words that elicit emotional responses.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean?
Like you could take
yeah.
Louis C.K., Kevin Hart, Dave Chappelle, name your comedian, and everybody would say, yeah, he'd be probably pretty good in this movie. You can't say take Johnny Depp or take Brad Pitt or take
Yeah.
Angelina
That's a
Jolie and
good
throw him
point.
on a mic
Yeah.
on the stage and let's see how funny they can be. People would be like,
Crash.
fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm not watching that.
It's
I want to see
really
that garbage.
cool.
Crash and
That's
burn.
true.
Crash and burn. So I think, yeah, to your point, I think there is more to being a comic.
Yeah,
than there is.
it's really
But that's the same. I feel the same. As an actor, I kind of it bothers me when I see some rappers crossing over into the acting realm that can't really act. I'm like, you got some.
Here's what I say to that.
my man's
Man,
face.
I know.
George,
A
you
A
know.
good 90% of the rappers in the industry are acting.
Oh,
They're writing scripts every day.
Hey.
That's what they do.
But they-
They
You
write
heard it from
scripts and then put
George,
it to a
folks.
beat.
They already
But they
training.
emulating what they see on TV, which is not really okay.
I mean, you,
Yeah,
now you
yeah.
can get into a whole thing about like what determines like real as
Right,
far
is
as
the
you
art
know
imitating
performing.
life or is life
like,
imitating
what
the art
determines
at
real?
this point?
You know, like because I can write. You know, just George is a perfect example. George, for those of you that don't know, is not only is he manufactured from bars, he writes really
This
dope
dude is a
horror
beast.
poetry. Like he
I
writes
love
really good
his-
horror poetry. And that's not even a genre you would connect with poetry because again, we're just trying to elicit emotional responses with words.
but you,
And exactly, so
This
like
isn't
you
the
can
George
really
show.
mix. I know, but I'm saying you
But
can mix stuff.
it
Like
should be.
I could write a funny piece and not be a comedian. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like, what
yeah,
goes
yeah.
into like writing a comedy set as
God,
opposed
I wish
to
I could
like
tell you.
I'm gonna just be real funny.
Yeah,
today.
I'd like to. You know, honestly, I would like to hear the two different
Yeah,
styles
like,
in
'cause
writing
that's
and
so
how they
cool.
might
Sure.
contrast.
Yeah,
Okay,
like-
how do I write? Like, what's my process or?
Yeah, I
whatever?
guess you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Like,
I
I
don't
guess,
know.
yeah. But what goes into?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
when I write a joke, like normally it starts as like a funny idea, like if I'm driving or something like that. I think it's funny. I'll text somebody, "Hey, remind me of this," or write it down. Then I have some notebooks at home where I have like for certain things, and I'll say I have a joke on midgets, you know, because that's easy. Like I write a joke about midgets, right? And then I'll go home, work on it, kind of work on the thing, and then it's just simple formulas: set up, punchline, then tag. You know, like I'll just. Hey, here's a funny joke about whatever. Like, here's a joke I do about, did you hear that 50 Shades of Grey has a new board game now? Thought they already had that. It's called Twister. Like, oh, so set up and then punch. Hey, don't. Shut up.
funny.
No, that was a weird laugh. I don't like that political douche. But the thing is, though, is it's like,
I was
at
trying
the
to do
end-
my best to not laugh.
oh, yeah,
Then it
that's what I
actually
want.
turned
That's
out
what we
to
all
be
want. We want
funny,
you to
and I was
hold it in,
like,
please.
dang.
But, like, the way is like, set up, punchline, and then you tag it. Like, I'll say, like, they should rename Twister to Awkward Cousin Boner. Anybody else? Like anybody? But like it's and then you just tag and tag and tag and tag. You know. But I don't do like storytelling or anything like that because I'm not very good at it. I've tried. It's like super long without laughs, and then you do that big punch, and they just look at you. You're like, okay, so see you guys later. That was my whole 5 minutes. Yeah.
yeah.
What about you, man?
Ahmad?
On the flip side of that, I love storytelling.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you're like an actor, so you probably
Yeah,
come with like a
it's-
whole character
Yeah, he
you
is full of
created.
shit. Yeah.
But it's I write based on my life. I got a whole lot of funny stuff that I've dealt with in my life from ride. We got short bus comedy show. I used to ride the short bus for real with the real retarded crazy kids, but I wasn't crazy like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I was hyperactive, man. So growing up in
Back then,
they
like,
used to
you
try
and me
to
are from the same era. So
Yeah.
yeah, back then it wasn't hyperactive. You were just a badass.
yeah,
kid.
you was just
everybody-
bad.
everybody-
You know, you need to
everybody
get
gets
your
so
behind,
bad.
get your ass whooped. That's what it was. And that'll get you right, you know. But he too much energy and everything and all this stuff. So they tried to give me Ritalin and everything. And
Yeah.
I hated that mess. It's just
Yeah.
super downer for you. But real life stuff. When I got in the classroom and seeing these kids in there rocking for real and shaking for no reason at all, I'm like, yo,
This just got
okay,
real.
I'm not this right here. I know I'm not this. So I did like 2 or 3 years in special education for a quick stint, and then okay, I don't want
About
to.
like a jab.
I know, right?
I don't want to
2
do this no
years
more,
in the,
mama.
in the
Put me
public
back.
school system.
Yeah.
Special education ward.
That is, man, because all you did was eat graham crackers and drink apple juice up in. That was fun, doing that part. But
I said just the
I'm
apple
like,
juice.
yo, I'm missing out on so much stuff because you get joked about, being on the show. But anyway, I'm a storyteller, man, and just the art of just having a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's relating to acting. So all of that crosses over for me and everything. That's something that
That'll probably help you too when you got to stay in the bit like that. When you're trying to act out those different characters.
Yeah,
it's a lot to
it
have that.
does.
You probably already have that in your wheelhouse. I just kind of just like
like,
I don't act. I don't.
I just say funny shit.
I don't have any
Dude is
talent. I
hilarious,
just.
man.
So like I've always wondered, because this is like, I know how I feel as a poet when this happens, like when you're spitting and then like nobody's feeling you, and like you can kind of tell like it's either going over their head or you're talking too fast, like you've just done something wrong and you're just like, yo, nobody's there with me. Like, so like as a comedian, it's got to be like extra, like how do you keep your morale
Talking
up?
about when you bomb.
Oh,
Yeah, how do you keep your
That's
morale up?
most- that's- yeah,
Because
that's-
because if you do poetry, I can just stop my poem. I can just say, well, that's I'm done with my emotions. You know what I'm
I'd say,
saying? Like,
I'd say happy hour is about how to deal with that.
Yeah.
Pretty much that's how I deal with
Yeah.
that. Cheap PBR. I don't know.
Go home and ball up in the corner.
Yeah.
Get
Dang,
a
I
fifth
can't
of
imagine.
Hennessy or something and just
Dude,
cry.
That's the worst. Yeah, I don't know. It definitely
You
doesn't
know?
like set your whole night. Like if like I'm like we do an open mic and then you have whatever, it just sets like I'm always like I don't know.
Does it
just
ruin
like
the whole
a-
night for you?
Not
Like, you
necessarily
can't
that, but
separate
like my last set was good, so I'm
Yeah,
happy
mine
right
too.
now. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like it's just kind of like a
It's high.
ongoing feel. You know, you're like, oh yeah, my last set was great. Like I'm
Yeah.
happy, and then you go up and bomb, and then you're like, well, I'm gonna go up tomorrow.
So you both
Go
had that
better.
experience. What was
Man.
do you
Oh my God,
remember the
yes.
first time?
Oh my
You bombed.
goodness.
That's the first time
How
I
did-
did stand up for the first. Still, man, like
yo,
I wish I
suck.
could
No.
say that. No, still, I mean, I think there's because I've always talked to musicians about this. It's like I envy that if you play drums, you go and you play the drums in your house as many times
Right.
as much as you can. You grind it out. With comedy, we have 5 minutes a night
Yeah.
on a
Right.
good night.
That's true.
And that's all you get. So when you practice, the first time you ever do stand up, you have to do it in front of a bunch of people. So it's a really
I never thought of
quick
that,
filtering
yeah.
process because people get up and go, I'm going to be the next George Carlin. And they get up, they're like, this is not for me. And they get up, but then it's the courage to go back up there after
Yep.
you just got
Right.
You
I
have
never,
to.
I never
Yeah.
thought of that. I never
Have
thought of
to.
that.
Audience can be incredibly brutal.
hecklers. Not yours, though. Venue's awesome, man. That's the
Yeah,
best. That's the best.
Venue's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
I'm really,
absolutely
really
is.
Venues
fortunate
like
to have that
church,
room.
pretty much.
Yeah,
It's like-
absolutely.
Because I think we make it very clear. And even without saying it, I'd like to think that we've created an energy there that is palpable upon first entering. I think that the average person walks in and can immediately tell,
Yes.
first of all, I'm safe here. I'm with my people,
Yeah.
and nobody's going to fuck with me.
What does he say? He said these group therapy sessions only work if we all show up.
For the meetings.
Yeah,
Ben Spoke
yeah,
says
that's
that.
the
at the end
Yeah,
of
Ben
every-
Smoke
at the
says
end of
that,
every
and I'm
set.
like, yo, that's really what it is at the venue. I guess I never thought about that, like, because you're right, because I can practice a poem, and like as long as I'm getting my emotion out there, like I consider it a success, even if people don't get it. I'm like, well, you know what? I was sad as shit, and now I've said my sad things. I could comedy is literally like these guys have to like it. Like if they don't like it, I don't need
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
Like,
Yeah, it's the thing about comedy though. When you on one, when you doing good, and you up there, the time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that,
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
suck,
It's like,
yeah, I've been up here. I know I've been up here like 10 minutes. No, it's just been 2 minutes.
yeah,
And
exactly.
you
damn, and
just
you got to see their faces, and
So
nobody's
what happens,
laughing.
and I know you guys have both experienced. I think I've had individual conversations with you both about this. How a joke may work at one location,
Yeah.
but then like completely bomb at a whole
Yeah.
other spot, or sometimes work at maybe Blue Frog on one
Right.
week, and then the very next week at the same spot, just whatever, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I think that's a challenge that you guys have, as comedians, have that's unique to
Gauging
to
your audience.
Literally
to
like
your-
a vibe. Yeah, you're
your
so,
art
so
form.
dependent on like
you're
the
right.
crowd reaction. that
Yeah.
it can literally change on you.
There are more expectations with a comedian.
A lot of variables.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
variables.
Yeah.
I said that
It's
one
crazy.
thing wrong a little bit, or I said like 4 seconds too early. You know what I mean? Like it's just the
Yeah.
worst.
It's been times where, like you said, the audience is not with it, but you might have a table that might love you. So what I've learned to do is sometimes make that table a conversation that we having, you know, and that kind of makes the audience, if they're not engaging, what y'all talking about, you know, it kind of forces them to it. It don't work all the
Capitalize
time.
on humanity's nosiness.
Yeah. So
Never
and it
underestimate.
kind of spirals when you get that room that doesn't care at all.
Yeah.
It's like you get one laugh, and then like you said, it piques people's interest, and then if you just keep going and you're doing good,
gotta
then
earn
they
their-
all
earn
start
them
to.
back.
When you turn a room too, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
and then you
I was
got
watching
that.
Chop do that when I remember Lamont room at Brody's.
Yeah.
It was an awful place, but
Oh, my
it was
goodness.
really rough crowd. Like they didn't care that we
They
were
didn't
doing
care.
comedy at all.
Yeah.
But Chop went up there and just murdered, and it was like
He did.
I went up 2 guys earlier, and I was like, they didn't pay attention to me. Like he just brought him back, and then it's definitely a goal now. Whenever I see a room that's like, it used to be mortifying when I walk in a room, they're like, okay, someone clearly just set up a PA and called it a comedy show. The TVs are on, the house music's still on, like we're still doing this right, and like it's kind of like good. And if I bomb, well, I'm just like everybody else. But if I can turn them, like wow, that's a whole different experience.
That's got to be a cool
That's-
feeling.
yeah, for sure.
Making everybody like
This is
it.
gonna sound like that very generic question, but I'm genuinely interested. So who do you like? They ask poets, who do you read? So like, who do you
Okay.
guys read? Who do you listen
Oh
to?
yeah, Louis
C.K.
C.K. religiously, yeah, and Bill Burr.
Bill
and
Burr,
Carlin.
he's funny.
Carlin's classic.
Old white
though.
guys. Yeah, just old white guys.
I didn't want to
guess.
say
Just-
it. But
Yeah,
I was
right. I'm like,
I was like, Louis C.K. definitely a white comedian.
my
Definitely a
God,
white
I'm there.
comedian.
Yeah. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Nah, you good. I mean, I listen to a lot of Pandora, and I will put it on whether it's Richard Pryor station and just listen. Red Fox might roll through there, Dolomite, some of everything old school. I listen to a lot of that. I listen to a lot of the Plastic Cup Boys or whatever they got a group.
Kevin Hart did that thing for a
Yeah,
second. You're
yeah,
like, what? Like, what happened? Yeah.
I listen to a lot of new
Oh yeah,
comedians.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That they were good comedians. It's just not
The
what I was
Spank is
expecting
hilarious.
when
Yeah.
I hit play. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's
Yeah.
not what I thought I was going to be watching.
But I gotta give props. I love Dave Chappelle. That's,
Hey.
Yeah.
that's my dude.
How can you not?
He king storyteller. You
Yeah,
know
he's
the
the
way
man.
he does.
He's
He,
the man.
I love the way.
Richard Pryor said that he felt he was passing the torch on to Dave Chappelle. And that's,
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
man.
know
I didn't know that.
Dave Chappelle broke
Yeah.
Richard Pryor's stand-up world record, like the longest stand-up, I believe.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor had like 2 hours, and Dave Chappelle did 6, something like
Really?
that.
It was said of Richard Pryor, though, like the mark of greatness is when everything before you seems obsolete and everything after you bears your mark.
That's rich, man.
And
Rich
You're gonna
thought
cry
deep.
now.
Oh,
That's pretty
and that-
intense.
I mean, when you
That
think
is
of
pretty
Richard
intense,
Pryor's
like-
career, like not many people can name a comedian
Before
Pryor.
Richard Pryor, that's
You know what I
true.
mean?
Like, not
And
even-
if you can, you're still like, yeah, but Richard's
if you
still
can,
better.
it's like you were literally
You
like
know what
there.
I mean? And then you name great comedians that came after, and you can. I don't know if there's
Dick
one that
Gregory
you
and
can.
other
They're all
ones,
like,
yeah.
yeah, but he got that from Richard.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, yeah, I agree. But Lenny Bruce, though, you can't discount Lenny Bruce. You know?
No, not by any
That's
means. No.
that's pre-Pryor. I'd say
Yeah.
he kind of made that mold of the dark comedian. I mean, with the little I know, I'm still so new, so it's kind of hard for me to. It's funny because people will ask me like, "How do you feel about this in comedy?" I feel like I don't know anything, so I'm just gonna be cool and humble about it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Lenny Bruce, I think, kind
It
of.
was better to be humble and accepting of knowledge than to walk around like
Yeah, like,
you're
oh,
this
yeah, I already know.
encyclopedia of comedic knowledge.
When really I am, I just have to act humble, so it's really tough.
Actually,
I have to just
he
act
actually
like mortal
writes,
like
he
you
actually
guys. I
writes
don't-
comedic encyclopedias.
Yes.
Like you have no idea how hard it is for Isaac to write jokes that are not funny. He does it out of irony.
That's it. Yeah.
He's that good.
Yep.
He's that good.
I didn't understand what he said. I didn't get it, so I just nod. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, yes, whatever
Yeah, I'm
George
funny.
says.
Yeah.
Whatever George says, I'm fine with.
Honestly, real talk, George is just like really cool like that.
God bless him.
So, man,
Yes.
George, I be thanking God for knowing George. Real, like,
Okay,
it's,
easy queer.
total
Let's
side-
calm it down. Let's calm it
All right,
down.
now.
Totally
all right?
side note, whatever. I ain't ashamed to say it. I ain't ashamed to say it. Anyway,
So what is the end goal? You've made the decision. This is something I want to pursue. Isaac, you more specifically comedy, whereas Ahmad, you got a couple different avenues and kind of decided to pick comedy up. So, where does it go from here? Do you want to do sketch? Do you want to get into long-term comedic careers?
My goal in comedy at first was just to be good at it, and then more of like I guess a career goal. I just want to live off it, man. That'd be really cool. I don't care if I live in a shack, this terrible
Yeah.
apartment, as long as I'm like somewhat safe, I
Yeah,
just
no, I feel
go gig
that.
to gig in a crappy little Camry. I'm fine with that, man. Like
Yeah.
I love it. It's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, we had a conversation just before the
Yeah.
beginning of the show
Yeah.
about that. If I could make off of this stuff what I make from my day job,
just quit. the
I'd
day
be happy.
job,
I don't need
yeah.
to be rich. I don't want to be
Yeah.
rich necessarily.
Nah, you don't need that.
But like, yeah,
Agreed.
somebody Actually, it's funny that we bring up Dave Chappelle. It was from an interview I saw with him. He said when he first, because I don't know if you guys know, but his whole family, they're like lawyers, doctors.
Yeah.
His mother
Oh,
worked
really?
for Nelson Mandela.
What?
Yeah, like no
Yeah,
BS.
they're
Like,
super-
yeah, they
Dave
were
Chappelle-
very
they're-
important
I
people.
love Dave Chappelle is the man.
Yeah, his father was like a
So just success.
Yeah,
Just,
all of them.
just
All of them.
Literally,
success.
literally,
Just
though.
cover
brothers,
that family.
sisters, all of them. And
That's
then he,
awesome.
being the youngest, was like, I want to tell jokes.
Yeah.
But his father was like, his whole family was like, okay.
Just
But
be
his
like
father
the
told him,
best.
name your price today. And he said this during his interview on Inside the Actor Studio. My father told me, name your price today. And when it gets higher than that, get out. And basically, to name your measure of success, name the
Okay.
bar you want to reach now.
Okay.
And in Chappelle's case, he equated that line with his story about why he left during
Chappelle Show,
season
yeah.
3 and
Wow.
and bounced out to Africa. He was like, it got to the point where like I've more than achieved what I wanted to achieve. I'm not gonna sell myself out now, so I'm out. I'm done. I
pretty
did
cool.
it. I'm out. So
He won comedy.
That's,
Like,
that
he-
lets you know
and
his
he
family
won,
was
and he won
pouring into
comedy.
him.
Yeah, he really did.
Fucking like won.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, you didn't get a chance to answer.
No, I was just
your
saying
goals.
that's my goals.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
No.
Something good. I like what he's
Yeah,
talking
you
about.
just
yeah,
keep going. You know, just follow. You know what I'm saying? Follow the flow. Like,
I'm with you, man. I'm just saying, Jay Chappelle, that's good upbringing. That lets you know his parents and his loved
Yeah.
ones was pouring into
Yeah.
him. That's something that we ain't seeing with our kids nowadays that I feel need to be more into it. But my goals with it, man. I love acting. I love comedy. And I'm with you. If I could just make enough to pay my bills, live comfortably, where I ain't got to worry about, dang, do I got $5 to get this Happy Meal right now?
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't want to worry about that.
Yeah.
Like
But
I'm hungry, but I also
yeah.
need gas.
yeah.
but
there.
like we was talking, I,
food to
I
eat or
would love
food
to
for the
just
show.
to see it keep going, keep thriving, see other people come up doing it, and let me do my time every 3 minutes or whatever,
Right.
and do my thing. But I would love to do that, be in the background writing and everything, long term goals and all of that. Stuff.
It's funny you mentioned like being a background thing. Have you kind of like, I don't know, have you started like this journey in like the chosen art craft that you have, and they found out that you were like kind of good at something else that was related to that? Like, I want to do stand up, and it turns out I'm really good at just like, I don't know, writing scripts. I want to do stand up, and it turns out I'm really good at emceeing. I want to do stand up. Like, have you guys done that, or have you guys like started something and then discovered like something else along the way?
Writing jokes with other comics and then seeing them perform them. I've never had that before where I wrote my own jokes and then I did them, and then if they did well, holy crap, if they did bad, whatever. But it was different to see someone else then do it and then watch it from a different perspective. So I guess writing jokes
In general.
yeah, being a
professional
comedic
writer.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only thing actually.
That's
that I
cool. That's
found
good
from
though.
that.
And
Yeah,
professional writing.
Yeah.
just
different.
Comedically.
Some
yeah.
might argue even more.
Yeah,
different,
like,
man.
You know,
I bet, but like that's kind of what I was getting at, because a lot of people, just like a lot of people, like especially when it comes to stand-up comedians, they usually don't stay in stand-up. They usually go
Right.
onto like other funny shit.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Because what was it Paul Mooney? He wrote for Richard Pryor. And
Yeah,
everything,
Paul
other
Mooney wrote
people,
for
so.
A lot of
centuries.
people.
Yeah, John Witherspoon, and
And he has a fortune.
Yeah, and
I mean,
they-
and
they-
it's simple
you-
math. It's simple math, really. If you're one person writing jokes for just yourself,
Right.
you can only make money off the one
Just
show
yourself,
that you can
yeah,
physically
just
be
yourself.
at and perform at.
Exactly.
You're right.
If you're writing for 3 comedians, those 3 comedians might all have shows that exact same
And then
night.
Yeah.
not. I guess we keep bringing up Dave Chappelle since this is a comedy
But
episode.
we are talking
but-
about comedy, and I mean, it's almost
Yeah.
impossible to not
Yeah,
come
no,
back
exactly,
to certain people.
because he just, but he
Yeah.
wrote most of Dave Chappelle's show, in addition to being like the guy who performed it, he also kind of did the
Him and
scripts
Neil
for a lot of it.
Brennan.
Yeah, it was, or like,
hilarious,
I don't know if you guys are familiar like with Childish Gambino. I kind of look up to him, like his,
Donald Glover.
yeah, his career arc was so fascinating to me, because he started off as just a writer on like 30 Rock and SNL.
Yeah.
Like he's been writing professionally for like a decade, like his career
Yeah.
writing wise.
And he's one of those people that's like legitimately at least half decent at everything he does. The guy
Yeah,
raps, he does
yeah.
stand-up comedy,
So
he
and
writes, he
and he
acts.
kind of got
yeah.
into rap. He kind of got into rap as a professional writer, not as
Right.
like a person who's like, I want to spit a flow. He was just kind of like, let's try this new writing style. You know what I mean? Because he's
Yeah.
a comedic writer.
See what you're saying?
So that's why I'm like, have you guys ever just wanted to be like, just started off like you said? So you can kind of go from
Yeah.
stand up and then
Yeah.
do a
So,
whole
joke
professional writing.
Yeah,
like
it
that's a
became
whole
like
different.
Oh,
yeah.
it's a whole different.
You know what
yeah.
I mean? So like, how about you? Like, have you been like, hey, I like acting. Turns out I have a thing for costume design. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Definitely. I've normally I'll pick up a script, reading other people's work, and that's what I've done until one of my friends was like, you know what, I would like to have a play written, Brother's Keeper. okay, well, he gave me a concept of what he wanted to have it go by, and I went home and started writing. He said, that's pretty good. Keep going with it. And before long, I had a whole script written out for a Brother's Keeper. I didn't think that I had the capability of doing that.
It's
So
cool, man.
It is really
writing,
cool.
and since then, I've written like 3 other plays. And
That's
one
dope.
is a movie that I'm trying to bring back to life, but
Are they
They-
comedic or?
oh yeah, they
Because
have
my brother's
they-
keeper doesn't have a comedic
No,
tone
that
sound
doesn't.
to it.
That doesn't.
He said everything but Brothers Keeper. It's
Nah,
funny
that
as shit.
really doesn't. I have one called The Right Ingredients, which does have a very much comedic.
Okay.
It deals with relationships and everything. So
Nothing funnier than a relationship.
oh my goodness.
Nothing funnier than a relationship.
all
Nothing,
types
nothing
of
that produces more artwork than a
Right.
relationship.
I would in every genre.
in every genre.
In every genre.
And this bald head is a reason for relationships, man. You know, I'm just saying. Most people are in denial about it, but I tell the truth. When I got married, man, the first time, I'm divorced now, but when I got married, you know, I should have known that she wasn't the one for me because I was at the altar, and when the minister asked me, he said, "Do you take this woman to be your wife?" I said, "I do," and some of my hair fell out right then. But I didn't.
Instant sign.
Yeah, but I
no
didn't
good
do
for
take
it.
it to, you know.
You got the sign after too. It was late. Yeah. So
I
I do,
know,
and then it
it
fell
was-
out. It was
I
like it
know,
was on the
right?
way
Yeah,
out, but
yeah,
you
yeah.
said it, and then the hair.
He walked. Yeah, his hair was fine
Thanks,
up
God.
until like his hair was
I had an
fine.
That made it
Afro.
official.
Yeah, he bought the tux and everything was fine. He was at the altar, saw her like, man, this is great. I do.
See,
Yeah, it just fell out.
see, y'all doing good. Y'all married? Neither one of y'all married?
No, no,
See,
no.
see,
No.
hold on. See how full they hair?
I'm about
You know, George just got engaged.
He
yeah.
got a hat on.
roughly
That's
2
how
years
it
after
stopped.
having hair.
That's how it
You got
stopped,
engaged?
man.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I got engaged
awesome,
a
dude.
month ago now. It was on
Oh
March
yeah,
5th.
oh yeah. As
It was
a,
March
just
That's a
a
beautiful
slight
thing,
plug
man.
to George. George is just. I don't know if you guys were listening have noticed that we all kind of just love George. So like,
You guys are
he's
really
totally
on
getting
it.
married. Like he's
yeah.
totally getting married. You guys know how awesome that is. I was talking to him about it. in the
She's
room.
awesome.
See what I'm saying? George is the man. We were talking about this the other day because poetry people love talking about poetry. It turns out like that's kind of like that's
kinda
all
what
we
we
talk.
were
Yeah, that's all we talk about.
Especially
Yeah,
in
I was
April.
worried that I was
Yeah,
going to talk
especially in
about
and
poetry.
this is the
That would've
most
been
sad
awful.
poetry stuff. So like, I was talking to him about it, and he was just like, "Yeah, she fucked up on my writing because I don't have like I'm not sad anymore." Like he has a whole piece about like how just being like happy and
Give
shit
it time.
changed his entire
Yeah.
writing.
Give
Yeah,
it
I see what you're
time.
saying.
Baby, can I go to the venue tonight? No.
Damn.
Deaf to you.
Oh wow.
No, she. That's where we met. You know what I mean? She loves the
Yeah.
venue just as much as
She does.
That's
she.
actually.
dope, man.
Honestly, like she understands what it means to me and what would happen if I didn't have it. I don't. She.
Right.
That's
That
key.
she
That's
knows.
what. But y'all
She
ain't
wouldn't
gotta
want me
hold
to
on to that,
give it
man.
up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
she understands it.
All right, which
She-
actually brings in a really cool.
She wouldn't have got to
concept.
meet this version of me if it wasn't for art.
Right.
Because I was not. I was alone for a reason. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I reeked of lonely. I had to
I
change
feel a
that.
poem coming on.
You
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, just wait for it to happen. Like,
I mean,
let it
there's a
happen, let it
million
happen, let it
poems
happen,
about
Let it
that.
happen.
I've written tons of poems about
He
that.
has,
era
and
of
if you
my
go
life.
to the venue, you can
You
check
know.
them out. But nah, so it's kind of okay. That brings up talking about relationships. Like, have you guys ever like I don't know talked to somebody that was like in the field you're in? Like, have you as a comedian have you been like, yeah, like what would that be like?
No, I have not.
No,
I have not dated a comic.
are there
I,
even that many women comics? Like, not to be like offensive. I don't know a
offensive,
whole
dude.
lot.
No, that's just a numbers
I
thing,
wouldn't
man.
think
There's
that
like
there's
one
a-
comic for every
yeah.
26 dudes who are doing comedy. Like, it's,
Oh,
just-
snap.
it's rough out there.
Is
now,
it?
But I mean, we have some really talented ones around here. I
Yeah,
mean,
they are.
very,
Yeah, I've
very funny
seen
ladies.
a few. You know, I've seen a couple. Women comics out there. You know, and it's just like
I don't know why. I don't know
It's
why.
definitely a
there's-
male-dominated field, just as
Super.
hip hop is. You know,
in general performance, I suppose.
yeah, the planet.
The,
Yeah, the planet.
Society
You know what I'm
in
saying?
general, you
Like-
just won't find women doing it.
Like men are so fucked up. I guarantee, like when we find life on another planet, they're gonna be assholes too.
They
The guys
will.
are gonna be a bunch of
They will
dicks.
be.
Maybe literal penises. Just
Like literal penis.
they're
monsters
aliens. What the fuck? It
Just
didn't
swinging
go
around.
around.
We are
On
born
that note,
assholes.
we're gonna take our top of
Taking
the
a
hour
break.
break. We're gonna kick it over to a few songs, and then when we come back on the other side of 9 o'clock, we will be back with Isaac and Ahmad. You have been listening to the Chocolate Milk and Waffles Show on RadioFradio.com.
September 14th, 2014. Something you should know. F minor, 7/8.
Take 16.
It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on. Who are these guys? It's my theme music. Every good hero. Check it out, son.
Hey, yo. Welcome in, here on Radio for Radio, go tell a friend. Went to Raleigh, Georgia, bring them in. We got so many things to talk about, so let's begin. Putting a highlight on local life on Thursdays, 8 at night. Hope you feeling alright, cause tonight we gon' get you right, yeah, show you right. We gon' laugh, joke, talk, rinse, repeat. We gon' keep it real chill, plus get deep. Ain't no topic off limits, no knock off a gimmick. 10 times out of 9, you'll be fine when we finish. We get talented, hard to get artists to target that audience. Talk accomplishments of those who get no acknowledgement. The studio be hot in the summertime, studio be cold in the winter. And know the chair a bit dusty, it be a throne we enter. Have a seat with us, chocolate milk and waffles, come and eat with us. 2 whole hours, turn your speakers up. And before we get it started, just repeat it thus. It's on chocolate milk and waffle show. It's the chocolate milk and waffle show. We got George, we got Terrell, we got milk, that's chocolate. We got beautiful buttery waffles, just the way your mama used to make them.
Crazy,
And we're back.
Crazy.
You are listening to a gluten-free episode of the Chocolate Milk and Waffles Show. I am George. My partner Terrell can't be with us this week, but we have sitting in for him the one and only Xavier Rodriguez.
How's it going? AKA the mango juice with the chocolate milk. You guys get no
Mango
entree.
juice and chocolate milk.
It's all juice
No
today.
entree, all liquid diet.
Nothing but juice.
And we are sitting here with our good friends Isaac Fields and Ahmad Clemens. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Good to be
buddy.
back.
We had an incredibly insightful conversation off the mic during the break, of which I remember zero.
I was about to say,
now.
yeah, I don't remember any of that conversation.
At all. Like,
I don't remember
at
a single
all. I
bit of that
challenge
conversation.
anybody in this room to tell me
I
what
know,
that
right?
was.
So like there were bars, right? Nah. Essentially, like we would honestly just it's really cool because me and George are writers, and you're talking to 2 other writers of a whole different like genre of
Right.
writing. Just in general, like it's a cool perspective just to have because we all use the same words. You guys are just putting them together for a whole different purpose than I even be thinking about sometimes. So. I guess like when you're coming up with like a set or a routine or a set amount of thing, is it like you said you kind of just say funny shit? Is it anecdotal? Is it do you ever think of it? Are you like, you know what, I could really do something really funny about color pants today and just really come up with a whole thing about the color of your pants or some shit like?
No, not necessarily like that. It's like maybe like a good premise on occasion like that, but normally it's just like we're shooting this shit like this with your buddies, and then you guys all come up with something funny. I mean, it's kind of like a joke right there.
So
I
got to sign a release then to hang out with you.
Pretty much, yeah. No,
Anything is subject.
Yeah, it's like that. It's just like a rhetorical conversation. You're just having a conversation, just like with your buddies, just joking around. That's how I say it. It's just joking around. Same thing.
That's cool. That is cool.
That flatline period, that's a pain when you trying to come up with new material and it's like nothing coming. It's like the dry period. You have a dry run with your writing or whatever, and it's
rough.
That's so
interesting. It's for creative people, period. Whenever you're going through any kind of a block, it's like the worst thing that can happen to us. Because like you feel, at least me personally, I start to feel like maybe I'm not that good.
Or I'm out.
Why isn't this just pouring out of me? Yeah, like, okay.
I'm spent. This is all I got. That's all I got.
That's a good question.
Like,
have you guys written that joke that you feel like, this is the best joke I have? This is the best joke I'll ever write. I don't know if it'll ever get better than this for me. Because I think as poets, we all have that. As musicians, I think we all have that,
I'd just be
too.
surprised when everything I write is good. I'd be like, wow, that came out of this guy? So
I do, for sure. I have a short joke. It's kind of like a one-liner. I'm not going to say it. But definitely, because then if I tell you my best joke, then that's it. I'll
right.
Trick pony. You've heard me say it at least 20,000 times, but I've been doing it probably when I started like 6 months in, it just worked so perfectly, and then I just kept it that way for like a year and a half until I started adding on to it. But even then, I was like, I just found something lucky. I think I was just like writing jokes that were garbage.
It's like your go-to joke.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That's my
okay,
go-to.
it's like your ace in the hole. Okay, that ain't
but
working.
It tastes bad though now. Sometimes it tastes bad.
Yeah,
Like if you like, I got all this new material to work out, and then none of it works. You're like,
Well,
All
here's the
right.
same
Like,
joke
I was
everybody
at the
laughs
mall
at.
the other
Yeah.
day. You know,
He's
they're like,
in his
oh,
back
God.
pocket so long, he got ass juice on it.
That's so.
Yes,
The
the
ass juice.
The ass juice. Yes.
joke.
Yeah. Yes.
The ass juice joke. That
Definitely
is the
got
official
the ass
terminology.
Yeah.
When it
That
all
back
coalesces,
pocket
the
joke.
back pocket ass juice
But
joke.
the people they never heard, oh, that is the funniest thing. I mean, man, you don't know how long.
Yeah, for like 2
Yeah.
years, it's been funny. Yeah.
It hits every time.
It's like it's the same with poems. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I have those poems that are just the crowd pleasers. There are certain poems that you get sick of hearing, to be totally honest, and sick of reciting. I'm sure it gets like that with jokes too. But you got to sell it every time. Same with comedy. You got to sell it every time. But we got a caller.
Oh, cool.
Oh man.
Go ahead, caller. Thank you for calling
Is
in.
it a
What's your name
lady?
and where are you calling from?
Hello, it's Indy.
Hey, Indy. How are you, dear?
What's up?
How
good,
are you?
Good. I'm loving the show.
Good.
It's hilarious. Okay, I have a question. 'Cause
Sure.
I love stand-up.
Yeah, little known fact,
I'm not a big-
background on India. Actually, she actually like only
True.
like she listens to rap, only rap and like stand up. Those are the only two things. In
Sweet.
Her life. Like
I
in
love
her
half of
personal
those
life
things.
is it's
Yeah,
bars and
that's
stand up. So
awesome.
this is actually really funny.
Facts.
So had to establish her credentials.
Facts, though. Okay, but so I only like one female stand-up comedian, but everyone hates her. So I want to know.
Oh God, it's Amy Schumer.
Right.
Yes, it
'Cause-
is Amy Schumer.
I hate
Okay.
Amy Schumer.
Why does everyone hate her? I
This
don't
is
know.
what I'll say about okay.
Why does everybody
As somebody who
What is
had
the
no
problem?
idea why everyone hated her so much, I had heard that she was a joke stealer and this, that, and the third.
That's all I heard.
So I decided to do some of my research on my own. I found not
Yeah.
one but 2 videos on YouTube. Each of them are 30 minutes long of side-by-side footage of straight up stolen jokes, sketches,
Rough.
dialogue in movies. She's a thief. Period.
My beef with her is as a
She's a
feminist.
thief.
Is why I dislike.
Period.
Amy
Like
Schumer.
it's
See, this is what.
not
I
even
heard
like,
that. I
oh,
didn't
well,
really
there's a similar
believe it.
premise in the joke. It's the same joke. Straight up
Okay,
stolen
okay.
jokes.
Damn,
Straight
I
up
can't even
stolen.
like her now.
That's
Yeah.
like that's the
There was
cardinal
even
sin.
a
Right.
sketch that she did for her show where she straight jacked up a Mad TV sketch. Straight up jacked a Mad TV sketch.
That's rough.
Yeah,
Wow.
I didn't know
dialogue.
that.
Like she even.
I didn't know that.
she-
I didn't know the
it's set-
extent. I didn't know the
the
extent.
sketches are set up the same way in the story. They're even facing the same directions.
Okay, but here's my thing though: is that I'm sorry, did I cut her? Wait,
But
what
she
was
wanted
it?
to know why
No, go
people
ahead.
hate her so much.
Oh yeah.
That's probably why, because she's a joke stealing hack.
But you know what I don't understand though is that like with people like they say like Carlos Mencia, he brought up a great point when they accused of him stealing that Bill Cosby joke. But he said, "How stupid would I be to steal a joke from Bill Cosby? If I was going to steal a joke, I'd steal it from an open micer." I don't think. I mean, could Amy Schumer be that stupid to steal from already hilarious?
I mean, if
famous
it's
shows?
shot for shot though,
I
if
mean,
it's
yeah.
shot
A lot
for
of it
shot,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's hard to
Comedians.
deny. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of it is like stuff comedians from the early '80s.
Right.
Dead comedians.
Ah,
Patrice Neal being one of them.
that's
gross.
gross.
Well,
Yeah.
now
I just
that-
think she's
I'm glad we had the same instinct. Yeah.
Straight
We're gonna
Jack
date what?
Yeah, great.
What? Yeah, no, I just don't
Well, thanks, love you
understand that.
guys.
Yeah,
That dude is a beast.
yeah. Rest in peace, Patrice
Alright.
Neal. But
I just think she's super hot, man.
I don't think
My
at
man
all.
came out the clutch with
I
that.
think
He came out the back with that.
I think she
First
looks like
of all,
a
Amy
Cabbage Patch
Schumer is
doll you
going-
send back to the factory.
I honestly,
what
as a
Definitely
feminist, I
not
can't
hot.
stand her. Actually, it's my only. But like, I refrain from hating on her because like we were talking about women just get so little recognition. It kind of sucks that like this is like she's getting a lot of recognition as a woman, and she gets hated a lot. Like it's too bad that she just kind of sucks as a person.
Yeah, I think there are
So,
a
like,
lot
I
of other
refrain from
female
out loud
comedians
hating
that
her,
are much
like-
better.
Yeah.
Wanda Sykes is a perfect example.
Wanda Sykes, yeah, perfect.
She's
example.
really funny.
Funny as
Yeah.
shit.
Paula
know
Poundstone, but
why,
like
but I
we were
hate Wanda
talking
Sykes.
about earlier, it is a male-dominated industry.
It is.
for the
I don't
most
know what
part.
that is.
But look up that video, Indy, and you make the decision for yourself of whether or not you think
I am,
she's a
right,
joke
right when
stealing
the
hack.
show is over.
She's got a strong
I'm
Yeah.
looking it up.
Yeah. What? My man.
Well, thank you for
My
calling in.
man
We
had to look it
appreciate
up.
you and appreciate your question.
I love you guys.
Love you back. Talk to you
All
later.
right, bye.
Bye.
That was
So,
a lovely question.
how
Amy Schumer
how
question.
severe is it to be caught stealing jokes in the comedy world?
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
in hip hop.
How can
and
you
in
prove
poet-
it? How do you even prove somebody stole a joke? Because like you said, shit just comes up from funny ass conversations with your
Yeah.
homies.
Yeah.
How do you prove
In
somebody
this
stole a joke?
particular case, like I said, it's
Shot for shot.
they had them side by side,
Right.
and
Right.
the changes are so minimal that it's very obvious that this person said, "Well, let me just change the name of the flower in the joke, and maybe it's a different joke now." But it's not.
Kind
You
of
know?
like the president's wife taking Michelle Obama's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And there's a term like that is I forgot. there's a term that basically means when you do take someone else's idea subconsciously.
Right.
No, yeah, I do know exactly.
Rob
yeah.
Williams said he had that.
Because like it's because I mean that's why I was like, how do you prove somebody stole some shit? Because it's just like, I mean, what's the difference between inspiration and homage and
straight up plagiarism,
straight ripping that dude off? You know what I mean? But I guess like in a situation like, for example, I have like, especially as a writer though, you know, like I have like 10 pieces that I'm writing that are all based on Georgia shit, and we always make jokes at the venue that like I'll steal your bars, because I will, like if I like your shit, I will write down what you said into my notebook right in front of you, and then when I use it, you won't recognize it because it's like it'll be like a whole different way that it was used, just because the way the words are put together.
Yeah, but that's different than straight plagiarism.
No, it's totally different.
You know
but it's just like,
okay,
how does
here's
a
a great
person
example.
even...
There was a period in time, a couple years back, and I won't name any names. There was a poet going around performing a piece, which nobody understood why he would do this. That was by a national poet.
Thank you. Okay, yeah.
And this national poet competed with this piece, like won competitions with this piece. And we do cover poetry.
I know, yeah, can you say his name? Yeah, the name of the national poet?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, to be honest. Okay. But so this guy's going around open mics reciting this piece, and he's not giving any kind of disclaimer about who actually wrote it.
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be something in there to be like.
So you're not like I've read Rudy Francisco pieces. I do a Buddy Wakefield piece almost pretty regularly because I connect with it so much. But when I do it, I say this is one of those pieces that I wish I'd written. Yeah. I feel like he tapped into a part of me that I didn't let anybody know about. And this is by Buddy Wakefield. Go buy his book. Yeah, I do that every time, and everybody knows. Oh, he's doing his Buddy piece, that piece that he liked by Buddy Wakefield.
Yeah, and whenever
this guy wasn't doing that. So what ended up happening was he was posting quotes from poets on his Facebook page and not giving the credit. So in the comments, I said that is one of the dopest lines I've ever heard from Andrea Gibson. Right. She's one of my favorites. He straight deleted my comment. That let me know, you're trying to pass it off.
Definitely trying to rip shit.
You're not just quote.
Yeah, you're crazy. You're crazy.
I was very public about putting them on blast. Yeah, I was very public about putting them on blast because you don't do that. And we all, as poets, a lot of us kind of felt like, well, how do we know that he's not taking our poems and performing
somewhere where we're not?
Where we're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like in artistry, period, that is the unforgivable offense. You don't take credit for another artist.
Absolutely.
Well, which is really interesting, though, because I was watching an interview with KRS-One, and he was talking about ghostwriting, and he was talking about lyricism, and he was talking about bars and everything like that. And he brought up an excellent point. He was like, look, like he said, what did he say? Well, essentially what he was saying was there's a difference between, like, if you have a ghostwriter or you're a plagiarizer or some shit like that, you can still gain respect as a performer, but not as like an MC. Like
Drake,
he was,
for example.
yeah, it's exactly. He was exactly what he was talking about. He was talking about Drake. He was like, specifically, he was like, you know, even if you have he said if Guru walks up to me with a line, I'm gonna spit it, like regardless if I wrote it or not. If Guru wrote a line for me, I'd be foolish as KRS-One to not spit this line that somebody else wrote for me, whether I gave him credit or not, because performance and showmanship has its own place in what we do. So that was a really cool
Even
thing.
with something like hip hop that is considered to be, I think it's almost insinuated when you hear somebody spitting a verse that they wrote it.
It is.
Because that's kind of what the culture was built on. I think it's almost the same for comedians. Like when you hear comedians up there telling jokes, the assumption is this comedian wrote this joke. Yeah. When the reality of it is there are a lot of comedians that do have writers, for example.
Yeah, they have
like
writers,
Paul
or like
Mooney
you said, it's just coming up from just
and
doing
Pryor's a
funny
legend.
shit.
So where do we draw that? Where do we draw that line?
Well, KRS-One, he said it in a way. He said, he said you can't, as a person performing somebody else's shit, you can't say I didn't write it, because like you said, there's that stigma in the performance in arts.
Right.
If I come out as a comedian and not writing my shit, I'm a fake. I'm not really a comedian. He was saying, one, you make sure the person who's doing it is getting like fed, and then they were like, at some point, he was like, yeah, say you don't do it at the height of your career, but he was like, at some point, be like, you know what, like that first album I did, that was written by such and such, or the first thing I'd like make sure, like in the background of things and in the back ways that people don't really see out in the world, make sure that person is still getting
I think
taken
hip hop
care of.
is unique in that way though, because it's like the only musical art form where there is a negative stigma if people find out you're not writing your own rhymes.
Oh my goodness.
Whereas like I guess because it's assumed that if you can write raps, then you should be able to recite
which is not
raps.
the same thing.
Which is not the same thing. Whereas I could write an R&B song. I've written R&B songs. I can't sing for shit.
That's what
you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's okay for people to write for Beyonce, but not for a Drake. But the difference is when a Beyonce or any R&B singer or singers in general are singing a song, they're singing for a more general audience. It's the idea of this is I experienced this, but we all have. Whereas in hip hop, it's more of a singular experience that these rappers are talking about. So it's very I. When in reality, it's
not
your
even
team
you,
who wrote your
whoever
shit,
wrote
not
the shit.
you.
But I want to ask y'all a question.
Go for it.
You know, and like I said, I'm from old school, and we talk about hip hop and artists and everything like that. I want to know, who are y'all top 5?
Oh, we're gonna do
every
this.
question
Yeah, we
every
gonna do
time,
this.
bro. Why we
Okay,
gotta-
I've answered this question a
It's
few times.
actually
so I can
George
actually whip
Mendez
through it
5
pretty quick.
times.
That's
my top
he's
5.
being ridiculous.
He wants to be back. He's like, can I please guest host again, George?
Yeah,
if I tell him
know.
how
Yeah,
awesome you are every
we'll
time.
have you back on the show. You
Like,
can,
Can I mention the
safely
George?
remove your
Yeah.
list from
So
my-
George.
No, I got a lot
got
of love for
holes in
Xavier. That's
his
why I
knees
always
right
ask him to
now.
do stuff with
Yeah,
us.
everything he asked me to
But
do, I'll do it.
I have answered this question.
Go ahead.
on this show.
Yeah, on this show. I think anybody's top 5 should evolve.
Has to.
But the top 5 that have most regularly fallen into the top 5.
Come on.
And I'm going to try to keep off order. Also, I'm not going to do that thing where I separate old school MCs from newer MCs.
I like lyrics, you know.
Immediately, because I've been on it a lot lately, 3 Stacks. Andre 3000.
I have been on
Come on.
3 Stacks lately.
Keep going.
Eminem. Karis one because he's the reason I picked up a pen. But if I'm going to be realistic, when you go back and listen to KRS's rhymes, it was the energy he put behind them, not so much the
His
lyricism.
delivery, yeah, his
You
delivery.
know what I mean? Slick Rick
Mm-hmm.
and Talib Kweli. Those are probably my top 5.
You know, after like his second album, his entire flow changed, and I was really upset. But like his first 2
Yeah.
albums are dope enough that you kind of want to still give
But
it
then
to
they're
him.
like,
based off of that
man,
alone.
Black Thought,
Come on now.
MF Doom.
There's MF Doom,
Yeah,
the MF
Scarface.
of the Dooms. Come on, son.
You know who I think is
Scarface
mega
is in
slept
my
on?
type.
Ludacris. I don't know why he
I
doesn't
like-
come up in
Ludacris
more
is sick.
conversations.
I like
about dope
a lot of the newer kids coming out. Mick Jenkins is dope. I don't know if you're familiar with Mick Jenkins. Vince Staples is dope.
There's a handful of the newer cats that I like. If I'm gonna be fair, I don't listen to a lot of it. Like I am stuck in. It's still 1996 as far
I'm
as
right
I'm
there with
concerned,
you,
musically
brother.
speaking. You know
right
what I'm
there.
saying? Like,
Yeah,
I've
a
become
bit of a
that guy that
snob,
listens
bit
to
of
the
a
oldies
snob.
and that.
Yeah, bit of a
And
snob.
it's ironic that I've at only almost 40, I've lived long enough for my musical genre of preference to have oldies. That's crazy to me.
40
Yeah,
is
you
a
are
beautiful
pretty old,
age,
yeah, man.
By the way, I'm just saying.
I mean, like, I was trepidatious about my 30s, but to be honest, my 30s have been. I tell people all the time, I wasn't born until I was 33 years old, and it was when I discovered the venue. I woke up at 33 one day and I said, God damn it, I'm taking my life back. I'm tired of wallowing in my own misery. You know what I mean? And I decided to do something about it. So fast forward, and that's
why George.
that's why we're all here now. But
Here we are.
And that's why George is the man.
and that's why we're all here now. But like, I think all artists have that moment. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this.
Yep, this
Enough
is
is
my
enough.
thing.
I'm doing it.
May I recap? Ahmad came in. He's when I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
finishing my thing. We were talking about, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That moment, I had to have that talk where it was just
Great
like,
segue back to that.
Right?
Great full
Yeah,
circle,
this is-
full circle, full
Is
circle.
this what I missed?
oh yeah, we were
Yeah,
talking
when
about
you
I
stepped
was
out, yeah.
headed for the police academy, and it was a kind of a because I got accepted. It's kind of like this weird moment where. It was my dad who sat me down and was like, you don't talk about the
Yeah.
police anymore.
Oh, shit, you
He's
had, like,
you
a
don't,
choice.
all you do is talk about stand-up. And then he was he helped me, super supportive, just kind of edged on. I was like, maybe you should think about, and took like a week, and I hit every single mic because that was just what I was doing, and I had to take that moment and say, okay, and I pulled my application. I was like, I'm going to be poor for a while, and but I know what you mean, dude. It was like, once I found it, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I love. Like, totally relate to that.
That
but
is a great feeling
what a
when it
downer.
fits.
Why don't I? Oh, yeah,
No,
absolutely.
no,
yeah.
That's when you find it and you're like, yo, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And then you're
I hate
just
to
like-
even claim that because it's such a great thing. I think it's almost like buffing yourself up. I have a tough time calling myself a comic. Sometimes it's like,
I
that
think we
guy's a
all-
comic,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think we all do that.
Yeah, you get
know
that?
what
I
mean?
call myself
Yeah.
a poet, and so I started hanging out with like the people
yeah.
that I know.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have people that introduce me to like their parents, and they'll be like, "Yo,
You're
Xavier,
a
this is like
poet."
my friend who's a
Yeah.
poet," and I'm like, "That's so cool." And then I introduce my poet friends, and I'm like, "No, these are the real poets, though." Like I just do occasional poetry shit.
I
Like
see what you're
these
saying.
guys are fantastic. But yeah, that's cool, man. Comedians is so cool to me. Like just to be
Do some time, bro.
to be professionally.
I ain't gonna
funny.
lie to you. There have been very brief flashes of insanity where I thought to myself, like in the shower or while taking a shit, I might be able to tell a good joke up here. And I've even let it cross my mind to try it.
Literally,
yeah,
like,
right? You know what I'm saying? I might actually be.
Why not?
But
I don't understand.
I don't have the balls. And that's
But
all.
that shit is hard. Yeah, that shit is hard.
The
What are
thing
you
about
talking
comedy and that I like about it, and it kind of can intertwine it with acting, is you can be transparent without really being transparent.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's like you telling a joke, and it's like, this is something that I really dealt with in life.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like one of my partners
laughing at your pain.
Oh my goodness.
Just laughing at your pain, and you kind of got to.
You can talk about anything up there, dating, coming up short on your long stroke, you know, all that kind of stuff, man. Everybody done did that.
Yeah, it's life,
Good, I'm gonna
and that's
tell
why I
you.
say like poetry and comedy are bedfellows in certain ways.
But
like,
what is it different? Why? What's the hesitation? I mean, it's just you're already on stage. You're you host the place where it's great to do stand up. I mean, I have a couple friends who I've convinced to do stand up for the first time, and I always try to get them to there.
Because venue's the first place you should do everything.
I can be I know I'm funny, but I'm situational funny.
That's what everybody
like,
says.
Everybody says that. Like I can stumble across some shit that ended up just turned out it was funny, and we're all cracking the fuck up. I can't harness that like you
act,
guys
though,
do. Do I what?
Do you act?
Yeah, I've taken a few acting classes. I can't say that I act. We got another caller.
Oh,
that
cool.
caller's
Is it a
just saved me
lady?
from answering a very difficult question.
Hey.
What is your name, caller, and where are you calling from?
My name is Terrell K. Mercer.
Hey, Waffles himself. Man, we miss you in the
that?
station. How are you, brother?
Nah, stay gone. I want to
I'm
host
doing
again.
Xavier's
all
plotting
right,
your
good.
demise.
I know, so it's gotta be it would be like the Dominican empanada show.
Hey, exactly. Empanada and chocolate milk.
Nice.
That's right. What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? How you
you
enjoy your
doing?
day off?
What's up?
I'm here, but I have like a real janky connection where I'm at. But what I'm hearing, you guys keep up the great work, Xavier. I'm proud of you.
Hey.
Definitely, George. Thanks for holding it down, man. And
Of course.
to the guest, you guys are lucky you didn't have to put up with me tonight.
I was hoping you had like an odd question for them because you're like the best at that.
What do you say?
I was hoping you had like a weird question for them because you're the best at like just totally left field questions.
I do have a question. I do have a question. All right. Who will win in a fight between Wanda Sykes and Roseanne Barr?
Damn!
He went there.
That's not
He
bad.
said, "Who would win in a fight between Wanda Sykes and Roseanne Barr?" Wanda's from P-Town.
Yeah.
Okay, she's homegrown.
Wanda Sykes would fuck the
Wanda would probably fuck her the fuck
Yeah,
up.
bro.
Wanda would like and tell jokes
Take her
about it
ass
after.
out. Yeah,
and
then
then tell jokes
to do
about
a
it
stand up
after.
right after.
Roseanne.
But
Yeah.
Roseanne is a
Yeah.
barbarian.
I don't know if she lay
Roseanne's
on her,
beastly.
it's over with it. She
He
get
said
her
if you
weight
sit on
her,
her,
man.
right?
That's
Roseanne's
it.
crazy. Like you got to be a certain level of crazy to grab your crotch and spit while you're singing the national anthem.
That's true.
Whoa.
You know, y'all remember? You remember that, right?
Yes, I do.
That was a real
Yeah.
big deal.
Xavier was
man.
probably two when it happened.
You know, actually, I wasn't even born. You know what I mean? But I'm pretty sure my parents saw it at some point.
What?
I was born at the same time as the OJ trial. So ask yourself, it's before OJ. Like
What year is that?
94. Like
We
literally.
got to get an answer to Terrell's question. I gave my answer.
I'm going Roseanne.
You're going with Roseanne.
Yes.
Okay, why Roseanne? I mean,
She
not that it's
scares
not
me
obvious, but
much. Yeah, she's scared. Just listen to that woman talk. I'm like, nope. Not even a little bit.
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
intimidating.
She
She's
don't
very
fuck
intimidating.
around.
No, not at all.
I feel like Wanda's a better fighter, but I feel like Roseanne hits harder. So I think it depends on who's more
She's
drunk.
got the.
Wanda probably gonna have to get it over
She
with.
gets lucky.
You know what I
Over.
mean? She probably can't go like
Yeah, she
multiple
couldn't go rounds. Yeah, she wouldn't go
I don't
around.
think so either.
Roseanne is one of them females, one of them persons that hit herself, you know.
Yeah, she really does.
That was getting Wanda Sykes' head.
You
You
know,
know?
head
I'm just trying to.
Yeah, Wanda Sykes was trying to
She
make
cut her
peace.
own-
Yeah, she tried to make peace. I'm not trying
Why
to
do
fuck
I
with
feel
you.
like that should be the next celebrity death match? Roseanne versus Wanda Sykes.
All right, fellas. Thanks for answering. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gonna
You
do
too,
as
brother.
much
Thanks
as
for
I
calling.
can, all right?
See you next
All
week.
right,
Peace, peace.
Another
call from my partner, Waffles.
Yeah, I
Just
see what
a
you're talking about.
quick-
here.
Always makes
Questions.
time for the show.
Yeah,
even
quick
when he can't be
breakdown
here.
for the folks out there who don't know. Terrell Mercer is just kind of the man. We happen to share a tribe,
Yeah.
Viola Fusion.
I wouldn't even be
Violet
here if
tribe.
it wasn't for Terrell. Like doing the show.
Yeah,
he's the one who extended his hand to me.
And he's a really dope person, just on the mic, off the mic, and he's really, really active in the community. He's really, really active in so many fields that people just don't even know. Terrell is kind of the man. We have a show together actually on the 30th of this month. And it's part of a series. I'm reading the text now. I didn't want to quote it wrong, but it's just raise awareness to missing persons and stopping violence. That's kind of stuff that Terrell does every day. It's just kind of devote his life to stuff.
Are you hearing that tone in the headphone?
Yeah, I am.
I'm not sure what that is.
It usually means there's a phone call, but I'm reading.
Yeah, I know,
I'm reading
but our
the
engineer
screens,
just happened to walk the fuck out.
But there's nothing here that says it. Nothing here
We're
that says
so professional.
Yeah, my nerd was turned on. I was like, I don't see anything. It looks fine. It
looks fine.
Yeah, it doesn't say that somebody's ringing.
We keep hearing like a tone in the headphone. We don't know if it's important or not. It's like a boom. And we weren't sure if it was a phone call or what it was.
Another line. Click over.
I know. Well, it's a Skype. So like we could do like conferencing and keep everybody who's called on if we wanted to.
Facebook shit. All right, never mind. Anyway, back to Terrell. Yeah,
this is a story of our lives, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh God, Facebook.
So, yeah, just quick shout out to just like Terrell Mercer and just Chocolate Milk and Waffles, and pretty much just again to George because it trickles back down. Shout out to George and the venue and open mics. Show. Honestly, you guys are lovely, man. Like, so we were talking about like the difference between like I guess doing poetry and doing stand up. And this might depend on the poet you talk to or whoever. But for me, it's like if I struggle writing something, I'm good enough as a writer, like technically skilled, that like I can just put words together until I can kind of retract that emotion. So like if I can't find the emotional mindset I was going for, I can like do words. Like I know how words, car, star, bar, lar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it works out. But comedy is almost like for me is like a whole different, because it's not keeping like an emotion in mind, and it's not really keeping specific wordplay in mind to convey a thought. It's like I have a theme and a subject. You know what I mean? That's why for me that would be like the difference.
So you ever on stage had a blackout moment? Is that how you deal with it? You just
blackout. Wait, what you mean? What do you mean?
Where you forget your lines?
I do my best to do that now. Like I have like a theater background, so that's kind of how I started doing spoken word. So when I approach, like I said, I have a character I'm trying to create. So what I really try to do now is like when I do a spoken word piece is I try to just descend into that character. So like you say a blackout moment, like yes, in the sense that I'm not this Xavier. I'm like whoever I want you to see on stage.
I'm not talking about like, because it's a prep moment that you go through when you are becoming a character. You step out of who you are. I'm with you on the acting, becoming the character to the fullest. I'm with you on that. But if you're on stage and you have a moment where you
straight up forget your line.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah.
Yes.
100%. 100%. What do you do as a comedian for that? Like I can fake it as a poet. Like we fake it like that happens all the time. You spit a different piece.
I actually just sometimes I'll just like I don't know about you, but just open mic wise, like just you'll have like a half written bit and you just work it out. So it's not really any different. I mean, sometimes I just blank on it. I'm like, well, I'll just talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes I think
work it out.
In comedy, like if you bring attention to the fact that you forgot the joke, that in itself can be funny.
I guess you're right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're able to do
in poetry,
that.
we say, we don't know that you messed up until you tell us you messed up.
Yeah, you could put it in part of the thing.
The average audience, I've got a couple signature pieces that the audience can practically recite with me.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that just comes from being a big fish in a small, not even a big fish. I'm a very medium-sized fish, I'm gonna say, in an extremely
He's a dope fish
tiny
though.
pond.
That's manufactured from bars.
So you perform to the same people. People
Right.
are gonna have their
Of
favorites,
course.
and when those pieces become your favorite, you tend to learn them, just like you would your favorite song. And at this point, I forgot where I was going with this.
Oh, you're fine.
What were we talking about?
We were talking-
forgetting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forgetting. Case in point.
Like we said, we don't know you forgot until you
Let 'em
until
know.
you
Right.
tell us you forgot. But there have been times where I'll play it off, and a lot of my poetry tends to be pretty emotional. So if I did forget, I've learned through acting classes to make that expression on my face not look like, oh, I forgot my line, but make it look like I'm in the moment
In
of
character,
whatever that emotion is.
exactly.
There have been times where I straight up couldn't remember the poem, and I was just like, you know what? That poem doesn't want to be performed today.
No,
And we're just
you
going to move on. And usually the
cheeky.
poetry audiences are pretty forgiving. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
like,
especially if you're good, like
you almost get more love as a poet when you fuck up.
And they're just
like, oh, it's okay, baby.
They're like,
oh,
he's so human. He's so human. Oh my God!
You
like,
get that in comedy.
you cannot.
What is that even like?
Make me laugh.
Love? Yeah.
Right.
It's like, give me another Hennessy right now. This motherfucker don't know his shit. I'm funny. I need to be on stage.
Yeah, they'll heckle.
Bro, stop.
You
I can't imagine.
Nobody's
ever been like, while you're doing a poem, being like, hey, let me spit my flow next. Like, nobody does that.
Dude,
but hecklers will be like, let me get up there.
That's when crowd work comes into play.
Yeah.
Code, drop, blank, or whatever. But sometimes it can throw you off to the point where, dang, you can't get back into you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this was the
No
question,
mercy.
I guess, as a performer. Do you guys like it or dislike it, or does it depend, I guess, when, like you said, hecklers or some shit? Just any kind of outburst during your performance. I know even some poets can get it, like, can go really well. Some performers can just, like, ignore it. Some people
For me,
make
it depends on the outburst, but it's a different art form. I don't think that plays well with comedians at all. Like,
I got murder.
you don't have any lines right now. David,
I think it is
like Joseph DePaul used to say, that you don't have any lines right now.
That's a
He just straight up tell you, basically shut the fuck up,
dude. I don't even like it. I think it's the single, because we always talk about this. I think every person ever will say, like, even when we first went to go stand up, it's the most mortifying thing ever to do and try stand up to a lot of people. So then you're gonna watch someone brave that, where they stepped up and they're gonna give it their shot.
Right.
And you're gonna sit in your comfortable seat with your beer where no one can see
like,
you and chip in.
Yeah.
Dude, fuck yourself, man. Like, I worked hard on this stuff. Especially, I remember one time some guy went off at Kazi's in an open mic. I was like, man, I drove 45 minutes after working 12 hours. I just want my 4 minutes. Is that cool? And it got real, and I was like, well, no, it's not funny. Thank you. But it was just, I hate that, man.
It's the thing about it is, if it's a new comedian up there, you're going to send him with his tail between his legs.
Right.
Yep.
But once you get that comedian that has a few scabs and calluses and everything built up from being booed, and you get up there and you want to interrupt his act,
I can feel my testosterone levels going down.
Yeah.
Angry, right?
I had this last show I did.
Yeah,
this very last show I did.
Yeah.
It was like I'm doing my set, and my thing is I have a set that I want to run through. Whether I start off with A, B, or C, it depends on my mood, and what the crowd is feeling at the time. But there's one guy sitting in the front row, don't want to shut the fuck up, and on top of that, he has an African accent real hard.
So you was just like, in this.
I went to Coming to America, Shaka Zulu, who is your king today? I just and he got up and left out. I was hoping, I was like, shit, I hope he ain't going to get nothing, because I went in on him for about 15 minutes. He wouldn't shut up.
There is that little scary moment. You're like, oh,
Is he
he
gonna
shit me
hit
at me
on
later.
me?
Like this.
But I thought about
follow
it
me
because
home?
but I thought about it because our DJ, he usually keep his piece on him, so I was like, okay, I'm good. If
I'm sorry, what? Like, spare microphone, right?
I knew I was straight because the DJ had a gun. So
I knew we were gonna do a show.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be fine.
I'd
You know
be
what I'm
fine,
saying? Because we
insane.
rode together, me and the DJ, anyway. So
Have you ever had anybody threaten you after a show? I had one Marine. He was jacked up. I was like, this is it for me. Like, he was ready to
I'm about
take
to
my
die.
head off. I said a joke about the Marines. He was not happy.
Nah, but the dude shook my hand real hard.
Yeah. A little aping. Yeah. But the reality of the situation, there's like 15 comics there who see you every show. They're not gonna watch you get beat in a parking lot.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're all gonna help you by getting beat with you and a bunch of
stick
pansies.
together.
But yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
that's the worst.
I'm
though.
pretty lucky. I am pretty fortunate. I don't really have that type of a room. Not to
Not
say
at
that
all.
that doesn't happen, because just laws of probability alone.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean? It's gonna happen, and it has happened, and the room tends to handle it on its own. There, I think.
I guess that's another difference between poetry and comedy, though. Like,
Yeah.
if you walk up and say I'm a poet, like, people are a bit more receptive. Like, with comedians, people are almost like, I fucking dare you to make me laugh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas if you walk up and you're a poet, they're either
Well, let's
gonna,
see what you got.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
either
we're a little bit more
like
open.
I don't give a fuck. Like, they're either like, I don't care about poetry.
You
I don't
talking
like
about
poetry.
dead white guys?
Yeah,
Is that what
yeah,
you do?
yeah,
Really?
yeah, they
That's
either
what a
don't-
lot of people still think poetry
They either
is.
just don't
Right.
care about
No, that's
poetry.
kind of ignorant though.
Or they're
because
totally
coming
open
to
to the idea.
Coming to a comedy show, if you paying
Yeah.
to come see it and you saying dare me, okay, you paid your money, so you're not getting it back. So
Yeah,
whether you laugh or not.
But it's the shows where you're doing an open mic at a bar and they're like,
Yeah.
I'm just here to play
That's
pool.
the ones.
Dude.
Oh, looks like we got another caller.
Word.
The hotlines,
Is
the
it
lines are
lady?
hot tonight. Go ahead, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up? This is Ryan Thomas calling from Virginia
What's
Beach.
up, Ryan? Ryan, one of the
How you doing,
dopest
man?
local poets in Hampton Roads.
Oh.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Oh, come on now.
No, I really mean
I'm
that.
excellent, man.
Like, he showed up at my writing workshop one day, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? You don't need
I'm
this
here
shit.
to teach, actually.
I'm going to make you worse. Get out. So what's up, Ryan? What's your question?
I need it. I need it for the inspiration. Oh, shit. I still got the computer going on loud.
Oh, I was like, I think I just heard myself.
Yeah, I know.
No, I had a question.
Go for it.
There's some rappers, some comedians, or some poets there. So are there any topics that you consistently try to approach and then fail every single time? That's what I do. There's a couple topics that like I really try and write about, and I feel like every single thing that I try and write about is just garbage. Like, it feels so corny and so lame, and it will never ever be good.
Yeah.
So, are there any topics that any of y'all feel like you've tried and failed, and how do you try again?
That's a good
Yeah,
question.
who wants first dibs?
What was the question?
Oh,
So
like
basically
this.
he was asking if you have like a specific topic you try to write about that for some reason every time you try to write about it,
Never seems to flesh
it
itself
doesn't
out.
hit.
Yeah.
How do you get past that, or do you get past that?
And what is the topic?
Yeah.
For me, I think I have the opposite problem. For me, it was a matter of getting away from writing about the same topic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was actually
that's
John
hard.
Barlow, and you know John Barlow, who God comes to the venue, gives away the journals.
Yeah.
He has a way of he's brutally honest, you know what I mean?
I
But
love
he
those
made a
people.
really good point. He kind of looked at me, he was like, when are you going to start doing a different poem?
Yeah.
And I thought he meant I was performing the same one over and over again. I was like, that was new. He's like, yeah, but it's the same poem.
God.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like,
God.
part of me wanted to be
shit.
like, I will drop you, old man. But then the other part of me
I'll
was
fuck you
like,
up right now.
you're absolutely right.
But he's been watching you too. That's flattering.
Yeah, you can't
He's been staring
exactly.
at
Right.
you, yeah.
You've obviously been listening to my poetry.
Yeah.
So for me, it was that. It was getting away from writing about the same subject.
Okay.
But what about you guys? This is a really great question.
That's a great question.
I'm going last. Y'all go ahead.
Mine was my religion for sure. Because we've had
You're
this
very,
conversation.
you're very strong faith.
I'm a religious dude. I don't like the status quo of a Christian comic as someone who goes to a church and does all these jokes like, "Don't y'all know when you wake up and Jesus loves you?" Right? Like that's it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like that's it. You know what I mean? But I think that, and so when as a Christian, when I started watching comedy as a kid, I realized very quickly that there was clean comedy that went in and out of preaching and devotion, where I just wanted to watch a stand-up show, and the other end was like Stanhope railing against why Jesus is full of it, you know. So it's like you didn't have any. So mine has always been the middle ground to find a joke where Jesus says shit and people don't freak out, like people, because I'm messing with people who aren't religious, they don't get the references, and then the people who are religious, you better not say that.
And also, people who aren't religious have like the weirdest religious stigmatisms against.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
well, I mean, they're wrong, so you know, you get it.
I mean, like, I mean, there's stigmas in general about like people who aren't religious will have issues with like Jesus jokes, and you're like, you're not even like going to church.
Yeah,
like it's so weird.
That is true. Now that I think about it,
Yeah,
I'm
religion,
pretty
yeah.
much in the same realm because I grew up in a strict Christian background and everything as well, and it's like, yeah, Jesus picked disciples that cuss, had knives and everything. So Peter, he cussed.
There's a
And
wealth of hood shit in the
was
Bible.
naked in the you gotta cuss if you cussing somebody's ear off. You cuss somebody's ear off, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
funny.
Jesus loves you. Wow.
That's funny to only the Christians who can laugh at those jokes. That's what that is. No, but you know what, man? Like, I totally agree with you. That's the worst.
It is. Yeah, I'd have to say I'm not gonna say there's a specific subject that like. I mean, there are topics that are difficult to write about. Like I'm pretty religious. I consider myself as well. So it is weird being like a poet, and then I spit some of these pieces, and then I'm like, somebody's like, sometimes I write poetry just to be like, I need something I can spit at church. But
that's funny.
But I have to say, like, it's not specific topics, but for me as writing, it's part emotional and part technical. Like, I'm always like, as a technical writer, how is this? So what I hate is when the piece like technically is okay, but it doesn't express the emotion that I was trying to like. I have a poem I call Light Work, and I call it that because I was trying to say something, and then the words got away from me. Like the words went in a whole different direction.
Okay.
But I was like, I can't throw this piece away. Like, you know, it's actually.
yeah,
I was like, word wise, it's dope. Like word wise, this is a real nice, real put together piece. So I hate the poem because it's not at all the emotion I want, but I like it because lyrically it's like it's still a good piece in and of itself. So for me, it's never like, is there a specific
you can recognize the artistry in it, even though you kind of missed your mark.
Yeah, so for me, it's never like there's specific subjects I can't write about. It's just like, damn, I didn't hit what I was trying to hit. And so it's like, how much energy do I invest in that or not? Like, should I continue this even though it's like totally off the rails, or should I just toss this poem, or should I just see where it goes? Or sometimes shit grows, or sometimes it comes back. Like sometimes I'm writing it, it becomes a whole thing, and then it kind of just snaps back into place with the emotion. And I'm just like, wow. So I usually just try to force my way through it when there's like a subject I can't write about.
Yeah, poets will say a lot that some of the stuff we write is through us and not so much by us.
Okay.
Is there ever what's the comedy equivalent of that?
Could you elaborate? What do you mean, like through you?
Like there have been times where I've gone back and looked at a poem and I'm like, man, I don't even feel like I wrote this. I feel like this was just manifested through me.
I found this. Yeah, like I found this.
Right, like this.
I don't ever feel that, honestly. I mean, I'm not just being. I think a lot of the stuff I write about though is also like super my political, religious beliefs or my day to day. So it's kind of hard for me to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I might be missing what you're talking about because whatever he was saying, I was like, I can't relate to that at all. Like I was looking at him odd, like,
that's a different. That'll be one of those like genre differences. I think.
I think you kind of like in the realm of like when you're on stage performing, you start off with a joke a certain way, and as you performing this joke, you get other ideas that just happen to
and it makes sense. Like it's the progression of the joke, the progression of what you're saying is a logical progression. It just doesn't necessarily hit like the actual emotion or subject you were trying to actually like express right then. Like I'm trying to talk about my heartbreak and I ended up talking about how much I hate bitches, but it's a really dope poem about hating bitches, but I really wish I could have spit about
still in some form tied into the original idea.
Exactly.
I think that's the prime example of you losing yourself in your piece, like you were saying, you trying to come more of it. I think that's a prime example of doing that.
You ever written a joke right on stage? Like maybe a tagline, just something that comes out and you're like, damn, that really worked.
Yeah, dude, that's why I record a lot. Derek Williams was when he told me, he's like, you need to record your sets every time, but just for stuff like that, like, you know, just kind of riff a little bit, and then that way you go back and like,
I think that's something that we find in people that are naturally funny. Like I've seen Dave Chappelle live 3 times.
What?
I hate you. Oh man, George is the man, guys.
3 times. Once was at the Ted Constant Center, right? That particular show, he started talking about like growing up in D.C. and the high school that he went to there. He named the high school. Lo and behold, like 3rd, 4th row, there was a dude that just so happened to have recently graduated from that high school in D.C.
Nice.
Dave Chappelle just talked to this one dude for probably a good 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Just about the school, one of the teachers that he had who still happened to be there that taught this kid. That's the weird coincidence of it. It was the most hilarious 15 minutes of his whole 2-hour set.
Because it was real.
Because it was real. And he made us, even though we weren't included, we felt like I don't know. It felt scripted. Like, it almost felt like, did he put this guy in the audience? Like it was too natural. And naturally funny people, they just kind of stumble across. Like we see Dave Chappelle, we keep coming back to him. It's like again,
I mean,
it's hard not to.
he's like
we see him on stage, he'll crack
the
up at
epitome
himself.
Of like professionalism in writing, though. Like
he'll do this thing where he'll laugh and kind of he'll slap the mic. He'll slap the mic on his thigh, and it's become like a Dave thing. I really think in those moments,
that's real.
That was a real joke.
I
think that was an in the moment joke that wasn't part of the original set.
Have you ever spit something? I guess in your case, like. What do you guys actually? What is the verb you guys use to describe what you do? Because we say spit a lot.
What do we?
Do we
spit?
That sounds so.
So I was cracking the other day.
I was cracking
these jokes.
I'm not allowed to say that as a white guy.
Are you cracking wise?
Are you cracking wise?
Are you cracking wise?
I was cracking wise at this show the other night. Yeah, what is the verb you guys use to describe?
I don't even know.
I don't know. It's kind of like
as a white guy. I can't say cracking.
No, I'm not cracking anything. No, sir. Actually, you know,
no, sir.
You see, no, I I don't know. I guess there's not really a verb for that. I guess
No.
we leave that for you fairies over there doing poetry. Like, you guys,
Well,
let's just be clear.
Have you ever been performing your professional crafts and said something like accidentally and it was better than how you perform? Like, and just be like, damn, that was smooth.
It's
like,
kind of a bummer too. like when you work on a joke for like 45 minutes,
feel like
you
an
tell
hour
something way funny. You're
writing
like,
this shit.
Cool.
It's like the timing and everything is just perfect.
And because you're right, but like recording every time is something that like I'm trying to get into.
And that's why I
too.
say like the writing processes are similar because you're writing and your end goal is that laugh. So you write a punchline. We do the same thing, especially when we're writing a piece tailored for the stage. When I'm just writing to get the emotions out, I could care less if it sounds fluffy and fancy and pretty.
Right. Okay.
When I'm writing a stage piece, either A, I will tailor the line based on what I know now of timing to fall in that spot in the poem where I know it's going to grab the audience, or I'll write a line and be like, they're going to go fucking crazy. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a lot of snaps, so I need to work in a pause now because they're going to go the fuck off. So I'm going to need to work in a pause right here before I write my next line. It's a technique to it, just like there is with comedy.
Like we were talking about, set up,
tag,
or
tag,
also
tag,
like you said, like just the way you intone certain things, your performance, your delivery. Like if you can spit the same poem 10 times, and it'll be a different poem every time. If I just be like, yeah, so I was da 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 da, you're like, yeah, so I was da 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 da, yeah, so I was da 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 da.
What's that poem called?
You know what? It's
I was hoping he'd say it.
Actually,
I was telling him
he wasn't gonna go there.
It's actually the same symbol, like the Prince's symbol, like the unpronounceable symbol for love. It's pronounced da 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 da. But
take a sip of my water.
But right. That's so like that's wow. That's,
believe it or not, we've only got 10 minutes left on the show.
That sucks, man.
I know these 2 hours fly by. It tends to happen that way.
Yeah, I'm actually.
I'm gonna go ahead and speak this into existence. Existence. Isaac and I have been playing with the idea of putting on a joint show, half poetry, half comedy, calling it Poems and Punchline.
I didn't know we were gonna talk about it. I'm excited. Okay, cool.
And now we can actually talk about it. The one thing that I did think was I think it would fit better at Blue Frog than at the venue. The reason I say that is the venue audience is used to having a mix of comedy and poetry. You bring comedy into the venue, it's not nothing new.
Yeah.
You bring poetry into Blue Frog, it's totally something new.
Yeah, you're right.
So the idea that we've been playing with is for each of us to pick between 3 and 4 features in the genre and just co-host a show together. Him introduce whoever and
right. Well, I was gonna ask you about this too. I mean, do you want to do the poems first or the punch? I mean, I think it'd be better.
We mix it up.
Go
back and forth.
Mix it up.
You think so? I was thinking close it with all poetry.
Nah.
I was thinking like actually alternate in between. That way we're giving that audience because there's going to be people there that are going to come for comedy. They're not going to want to wait till the end of the show.
If you give, if you give
vice
people
versa.
a chance to leave, they leave. So like,
And I think the idea is to have the audiences blend. If you have all the comedians first and the comedy crowd leaves when the poetry starts and they're like, I ain't gonna hear this.
And they'll do that for sure.
Right. But if like their favorite comedian happens to be the third one, force them to. It's like we started doing this thing at the venue for a little while. We loosely referred to it as guerrilla theater. The venue was created to do plays and theater, but people weren't coming to the plays. So what we started doing was doing little one-act shows in Feature Sundays when it was still Feature Sunday, and doing it at the other events, doing it at the open mic. Just you're not going to go to the play, so we're going to bring the play to you, and we're going to expose you to something, and maybe you'll actually like it and come to something else. And it actually worked for a little while. We did start seeing the other crowds intermingling.
A comedy,
cool.
a comedy
like
spoken
yeah,
word
no,
joint.
we'll grind it out, brother.
How long?
Yeah,
like,
sure.
will the sets be like similar lengths?
I would say average lengths. You know what I mean?
5 to 10.
Like if you go to because you go like a feature night. Like comedians, not like in a bad way, but comedians will get like 20, 30 minutes, and then a poet will be like, you got 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's really
a lot harder to do 30 minutes worth of poetry than I think.
I can imagine.
Than it is
No,
30
I've
minutes
never done 30 minutes of anything. Except for this,
I haven't even touched it. I'm like,
I think
like
the
20
reason for
once.
that, like let's say a poet and a comedian both have a 15-minute set, right?
Right.
The comedian gets to, or hopefully is just funny for those 15 minutes. Poets, the poems are going to range in tones and moods. Yeah. So you're making your audience do this the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Whereas the comedy,
or at least you better be making your audience.
Yeah, and there's some sort of interaction with the comics as well. You could do some crowd work, fill time, and you're like, oh, we're a little low on this material here. Let me ask, what's your day like? Yeah, so yeah, you're right.
Oh, that's another cool. You guys get to do that, huh? You can just point
Yeah.
out random shit and be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I forgot I was about to say. That
hit on
chair-
women.
Yeah, that chair is over
That's
here.
the best.
Hit
Like,
on
hitting
women.
on women. That's the best.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Like, if I forget my poem, I'm just like, well, roses is red. Violets, violets are blue.
I just hit on the one in the front row. I'm like, oh, I'm out of material. So, hey, what's up?
I'm gonna pretend I'm a comic. I'm gonna pretend I'm a comic every time I forget my poetry.
Okay.
Start doing crowd work.
Yeah, be like, I forgot my piece. So like, how y'all feeling tonight? You know what I'm saying? Just switching it up. That'd be really funny, actually.
We should do some comedy. We should all four do comedy together.
We did for the last 2 hours.
Oh, well, I guess that's what it was.
Bars.
Done
You know
and
who you
done.
look like, man?
Who is that?
Eric Benet, man.
Eric Benet.
I
haven't
can see
even.
that a
Who
little
is
bit.
Eric Benet?
You've never heard of Eric Benet? You too damn young.
You don't know who he
Boy, you
is?
too young. He was married to Mia Halle Berry for a little while.
He was
right?
married to everybody.
Yeah, he done married every beautiful woman in Hollywood.
Benet. In
He
that
was
case,
married
sign
to a
me up.
John
I'm totally
Vaseline for a
fine.
while.
Including Maxwell.
How do you spell his last name?
Benet.
Benet. Because Eric Bennett's a totally different white guy.
Yeah, you know Eric Benet.
What?
That's who he
Eric
look like.
Benet? This is a handsome
Maybe
young
we could
guy.
find something just totally
Yeah,
like a
young
totally
man.
different venue.
Maybe we could.
Yeah.
Maybe we could. Worst case scenario, there always is the venue. I just feel like the point of it is to expose audiences.
Oh, for
to
sure.
things that they're
That's
not
true.
used
Yeah,
to,
like
so.
I'm
there's
excited,
always
man.
comedy at the venue.
It could be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We just got to iron out some details.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, if
so,
I'm off work that day and you're looking for a poet,
I was trying to get to that before we close out.
Oh.
We do have a few more minutes, so I want to get you guys an opportunity to plug whatever you got coming on.
Sure.
And
Shameless
where people
plugs,
can,
go.
and your social media
Would you like
outlets
to
where
go
people
first?
can find you. Go ahead.
Yep. This is Ahmad. I'm with the Short Bus Comedy Show. We coming up in Richmond. We about to be on the road in Richmond. Me and my boy Sean Money Lamont. The 22nd, April 22nd at 8 o'clock. We at the Clarion Hotel. And also on the acting side of the field, me and my homegirl, Crystal Sessoms. She has a piece called Sisters Without Voices.
Okay.
It is a dope piece. It's also going on in Richmond at the Club 6335, Sunday, April 30th.
All right.
And it's something, ladies, if you want to come check something out that's inspirational for you, it's definitely something that you want to see.
What about your social media on the interwebs? You got the Instagrams or the Facebookings?
I'm Facebooking right now.
All
so
right.
look at AhmadClemens.com. I mean, yeah, Ahmad Clemens on Facebook, you know.
You gotta spell it out, bro. Come on, son.
AHMAD, my bad, bro.
I'm just saying, 21st
for sure.
century.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I gotta spell
People
mine
are doing
too.
it straight from their
Yeah.
phone right now.
CLEMONS.
All right. Isaac?
Hey guys, my name's Isaac. I have some comedy shows coming
Rapper,
up.
actor.
I host first Thursday of every month. As usual, we do a Blue Frog comedy competition. So we just get local acts to come up. Ahmad, you've done it, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody gets 5 minutes, no content, language restrictions. Close with some weird, crazy music at the end. Winner gets like $100. We do a 50-50 raffle.
Nice.
Half it goes to Sloth. That's pretty cool. Every Tuesday, I host an open mic at Bucketheads. It's just for comedy. We close out with some music. We got a house band that's really fun. Every Wednesday now we're doing an open mic at Blue Frog as well.
Damn, you're busy.
Yeah,
about
brother.
to say.
Sneaky Pete's on Friday. It's every Friday night. We got Sneaky Pete's. It's 8 to 10. We're doing like extended sets for comics from the open mics who are better. You know, showcase. They can polish their better stuff. And then soon, the date is to be announced, but I'm very happy to announce that the show I was telling you about at my church. We're going to do.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I know. It's going to be an hour show from about 8 to 9 every Sunday night. And it's going to be just. I've talked to you about this, Ahmad. You're going to do that. Yeah. But, yeah, so we have a $5 cover, and then we're going to do half goes to the church, half goes to Sloth.
That's real.
Which,
First
if you
of
guys,
all,
I have to say this really quick.
Yes,
if you guys don't know about
please
Sloth.
do plug Sloth.
Yeah, Sloth is Sloth Cares. It's a charity, a nonprofit, goes towards suicide prevention, PTSD, and depression awareness. It started off with Sean Michael Malick passed away a couple of years ago.
Rest in peace, Sean.
Yeah,
Sean's a good
funny
guy.
fucking dude, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
but that started in his name, and I'd like to put some money towards that, please. But
Beautiful.
thank you for ISAAC FIELDS. That's how you spell my name.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm on
There you go.
Facebook.
Xavier, you do the same. Go ahead and plug whatever.
I'm really just Xavier Rodriguez. I don't really do much really that cool beyond. I mean, I sell phones at Verizon if you need a phone.
The dude that
I
look like
often-
Eric Benet.
I usually work at Lynn Haven Mall or MacArthur Mall. If you're trying to buy a phone and I have unlimited data, I really don't do much beyond sleep and talk shit on Facebook. So if you're interested in nerd and or politics and or random shit talk, Xavier Rodriguez, XAVIER. Rodriguez is the most common last name on the planet, except for like Johnson, so I'm not gonna spell that. It's a picture of, I guess, an Eric Benet looking motherfucker as the profile picture. If you're looking for me, Instagram is bboysabi, BBOYCABI. I share a lot of local events and stuff too. So like, if you're just like, I like to share stuff because I'm always at work. So if you guys, like, just share shit, and I'm gonna share it regardless. So like, if you're like, you have events done, I'm just gonna hit that share button, and I'm gonna be at work doing it. So. Yeah, that's it. For who I am as a cool person. However, that George Mendez guy is really cool. You guys should check out the venue on 35th. Every Monday is an open mic. Feature Fridays is coming up pretty damn soon. That's not this week?
It's on the 20th. It's on the last Friday.
Last Friday of every month. Feature Fridays is super dope. They're doing an open mic.
Fun.
Their open mic on Mondays is dope. George does writing workshops every other Wednesday.
Second and fourth Wednesday.
Second and fourth Wednesday. So every other Wednesday, but alternatives. No, not on the first Wednesday.
You know my schedule better than I do. That's a little creepy.
I share it like a mug.
I see you. I see you.
No idea. Like, George is so cool. So yeah, you do mad open mics too, Isaac. I'm gonna share all your shit. I love open mics. I love telling people about open mics.
A lot of comedy open mics.
Like, open mics are the bomb. So just share.
So over at the venue this Monday, we are in talks with a food truck, the J&K style food truck will be parked in front of the venue on Monday during open mic.
I'm with it.
This is a trial run. If all goes smoothly, they will be at every open mic and all our big events at the venue.
I forgot one more thing. We're going to be at the venue too, May 6th. Short Bus Comedy Show.
That's right. That's right.
May 6th, my bad.
Everybody falls through the venue.
Just come through.
So, once again, thank you both for being here. Xavier, thank you for sitting in for Terrell.
Anytime.
Couldn't have imagined anybody else better to sit in with me on a show tonight.
Anytime.
And once again, I guess I'll be doing our closing line without him. It's so sad. Remember Hampton Roads. We do what we do because we includes you. Good night, everybody.
Good night.